action, pumping and dumping, manipulate the market, flood it from the darknet, flood it from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
Hello everyone out there on the interwebs, including that little incense icon. Just give us a second or two as we make sure that the audio is coming through. I didn't mean to rhyme, but it did somehow. Hello everyone out there. Yay! Volume works. Woohoo! So, welcome to CryptoBarons on the DEF CON 201 live stream. Hello everyone out there watching it on Twitch, DLive, YouTube. What else have we added? Facebook and PeerTube out there. Welcome everyone, and for all of you watching on through YouTube, but on Tor, you guys are elite. And there's the first instant reward if I can figure it out over there. There we go. You put that code in and you scan that QR code with the get.instant.com app, and basically you get to earn a small amount of cryptocurrency as you keep watching the stream. It's just one of the cool ways to reward people. We're not sponsored by them. We just think it's a cool way to reward people watching on the show. So you'll see icons pop up there a lot. So I'm going to go through the spiel, and we're going to get things out of the way before we get into today's topic. First of all, welcome. This is DEF CON 201. My name is, well, people on the internet refer to me as Side Pocket. I'm one of the two co-founders of this subset of DEF CON groups out in Hudson County, Jersey City, New Jersey. Just doxing myself right there. And we are a computer hacker collective hangout group that normally meets third Friday every month. We've had a fantastic, I must just say we had a fantastic 2020, but yeah, loaded term right there. But we normally meet third Friday of the month. In fact, so next month in February, our meeting's going to be on February 19th. Thankfully, it'll be past Valentine's Day, and there'll be a lot of cool stuff happening there. Normally, we meet in person at this awesome place called Subculture, but because no one can't stop licking doorknobs and rubbing their butts on each other during a giant plague, and police want to beat everyone in who has a face, and this whole crazy coup thing going on. We've been live streaming since March, essentially, and so not only do we have those meeting shows, but we have special interest shows like this show. And if you're interested in this content, if you like what you see, if you're looking forward to next month's meeting or some of the specials that we're going to do next month, you can hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, YouTube, PeerTube, and I'm missing one here for the Facebook. Yeah, I think that covers them all right there. We get notifications for those. In fact, I'll get those during the show. And a special shout out to the DLive folks, because CryptoBarons is particularly made for you. DLive, the cryptocurrency streaming platform. And so want to warn out there that somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m., we are going to do we're going to do the treasure box. So if you don't know, on DLive, there's a little treasure box that's usually in a corner. Definitely, if you want to donate some lemons, awesome. What we try to do is at the end of every CryptoBarons, and sometimes during our normal meetings, but especially during CryptoBarons, for anyone on DLive, sit around. We will basically give away a bunch of lemons, which is kind of like Twitch versions of bits and YouTube's version of super chats. And I don't even know what Facebook and PeerTube does. If you do want to send any of those or follow us, we will get notifications for those. And another thing on DLive, which I'll bring up later, see that bar up ahead? That relates to you on DLive. But let's kind of go into everything, because we have a little bit to cover before we get into our main topic, which is going to be exhausting. It's going to be a lot of different subjects, a lot of different disciplines. I'll kind of explain why I chose this, because this is kind of going to set the precedent throughout the rest of the year on CryptoBarons. So bear with me. That's what I'm saying. What else should I cover? Oh, just a few disclaimers. Kind of similar to one of my favorite YouTube channels, Coin Bureau. I am not a financial expert, a legal expert, and even though I am applying for something in the cryptocurrency world and blockchain world, I don't work on anything. No one's sponsoring us. We are not sponsored by the Godtrons from China. We're not backed up by like some major Ethereum network. We're not sponsored or backed by Polkadot, which is what we're going to be covering today and explaining what that is. Outside of DEF CON groups and the fact that we're an EFA, an Electronic Frontier Alliance member, and probably something else I'm thinking of, No one's sponsoring us, which is why anything that you hear here, if I say something positive, that means I've used it before or I'm currently using it and it's great. And if it sucks, I'm going to say if it sucks. Hence the whole actual blockchain, which graciously co-founder GI Jack always donates to me on every show, and it hangs a bit too low. If I purchased it, I'd probably have it up, kind of up here, like kind of like that, because goes off screen here. But what was I getting to? So what I'm saying is that all this stuff is my own personal opinions. We're going to be doing also stuff uh, like terminal commands and stuff live tonight. So just bear with me and just note that I'm not an expert on anything, which is the whole point of this show. So what is Crypto Barons? Oh, real quick, before we get into Crypto Barons, also I love talking with chat. So if you have any questions, if you can't hear me, if I'm going too fast, going too slow, you want to shout out something and you're not being a major asshole, no matter what platform you are, type it in chat. I will see it. It also shows up on the. I still forget which direction everything is. There we go. Nope. I just had. There we go. The chat bar over here. I hate the mirrored world. I'm stuck. Uh, what was I saying? I love talking with chat. So if you have any questions or you have any comments and you're not a dick, type it in chat. Otherwise, what I always say, keep lurking and keep learning. So as I do some hydration, and remember, we're not sponsored, so whatever drink I'm drinking, that's not what we're not sponsored by this. I'm just using this to keep awake and to not die on the stream. Ooh, that was some good drink shots. I wish this was alcohol. What is Crypto Barons? Well, Crypto Barons is one of my two shows. My other show is Master of Unlocking, which takes place on the first and third Sunday of every month. So we're basically taking a week-long break next week of nothingness of streams. Maybe we'll do a live special, but it'll be a break, and then we're going to be right back going into February, normal schedule. So yeah, there's that. And this show on Crypto Barons, by the way, Master of Unlocking the one on Sunday, I teach people how locks work and how to pick locks and lock exploits. And if you've seen Lock Picking Lawyer, Bosnian Bill, or whatever, you get that show. This is not this show. This show is every second and fourth Saturday of every month. So next month it's going to happen on missed one day here. Saturday, February the 13th and February the 27th will be the next two dates. I'll remind everyone that at the end. Crypto Barons is a show where I love cryptocurrency. I love blockchain technologies, both the good and the bad. And I especially like to shout out the bad and diss the bad and promote the good and the unknown. And what frustrated me as someone who looks up stuff, which is why I did a shout out to Coin Bureau here, is because most stuff on cryptocurrency is about financial markets and a bit some of it on culture. Now, we do cover sometimes how coins are doing in the marketplace or like what their business goals are. And we also occasionally talk about and we more get involved in community stuff. However, on this show, Crypto Barons, while I take another sip of this, is about blockchain and cryptocurrency technology. Oh, but I'm going to be doing that a lot tonight because I have a lot to say about this. Which means we look at code. We look at the code backend for things. We look at wallet. Our first episode, we built an entire blockchain on JavaScript because I hate myself. That's the sort of stuff that we do on this show. And tonight, this is really exciting for me. Tons of research into this. It's also currently the hot topic of everything that's not in a mall. Do they even exist anymore? Anyhow, which is Polkadot. It's not just something you wore in the 60s. It's a whole platform that we're going to get into that basically is not only trying to rival Ethereum and basically replace it in terms of its whole back-end network strategy, and we'll get into that, but it's actually making legit headways into it. With legit, the reason why Ethereum 2.0 happened is because of the stuff going on in Polkadot. So I'm really excited to cover this. So as I do a quick setup here, let's make this full screen and let's get right into all the action here. So we're going to do a transition. Now, I will note that, unfortunately, I did have some pre-loaded videos up here. And thank you, C Notesworth. By the way, C Notesworth, C_Notesworth, you have the most easily read username I have seen on Twitch. So bravo to you. Usually when people follow us, it's like, congratulations, A9BSEC2418. But it reads like Welsh. So thank you. I appreciate for you having an easy to read, non-cryptocurrency password wallet username. And thank you for following us on Twitch. But let's get right into this. So this is of course our website. Sarah still makes this. In fact, if you want to do it, you can do. You can go to our website, which is I'm going to type it right here, which is defcon21.org. We are on all sorts of things. If you want to know that, you can see at the bottom of the stream. We're also on Twitter, defcon21nj, and we're on Instagram, GitHub, the host sucks version of Mastodon. We have our own .onion that I need to update on the screen. But if you can either go to our website to find most of these links, or I'm going to type this in chat. Thank you. I'm going to try my best. If you, and I'm shocked they didn't block me on Reddit. Because by the way, spoiler alert, until we run the code part, because I'm going to do this. I've never run any of the test nets or anything before, and we're going to try this. I honestly have a lot of good things to say about it. So we'll see what happens when we run the code. But let me type this in real quick. So if you think I left anything out, or if you're like, hey, you didn't cover this, say so in chat, because I'm on a lean mixture here, because you're gonna see the amount of tabs I have open, and it's pretty nuts. But if you want to check out your social links, I just put our link tree right in the chat. You can go click on that, explore all that. Really cool stuff. And then we're gonna take 1-2 things out of the way, and then we're gonna kind of get into Polkadot, and I'm gonna explain this best that I possibly can. So I want to mention real quick that one of the reasons why we're covering Polkadot is we're kind of doing what Warner Brothers tried to do with the DC extended universe, wherever the hell they called it, in which a lot of later this year we're occasionally still going to cover certain cryptocurrencies. Stop reminding me to upgrade on Git. Go away. Notification. Go. 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 All right, fine. Just sit there like an a-hole in the corner. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Good. All right, you're gone. Freaking Git, literally. Anyhow, we're kind of like covering Polkadot. We're going to go over a lot of stuff that we're going to cover in depth later on this year, like literally starting next month. Last year, we looked at a lot of different cryptocurrency communities and certain like special interest groups. Like we looked at Pinkcoin, which was a cryptocurrency just focused on charity. We looked at Gridcoin and how they were helping out in the pandemic. We looked at various coins that use Tor and I2P directly, such as Monero and not Grin. Well, Grin uses Mimblewimble, but Monero and Deep Onion and things like that. This year, we're really going to focus on coding and commands, which drives me crazy. And it basically every time I stream this show, I am absolutely tempting the demo gods, and they're not going to smile on me. Although we did get pretty far last time when we covered Facebook's horrible DM platform. You can go again after the stream. You can go to YouTube or whatever and check that previous episode. Let me take a quick sip here. So we're going to be covering things like how to make DApps or DApps, otherwise known as decentralized apps. We're going to talk about what languages they use. We're going to try to, I'm basically going to learn new programming techniques and languages, as well as upgrade whatever measly programming experience I currently have while we do this show. So literally by the time we cover most of this, I will hopefully be a better programmer than I was when I started. We're going to be covering smart contracts in depth. We're going to be covering chain systems, user interfaces, things like that. And occasionally we'll go into some special interest things, like there's a thing appropriately coming up in April that I can't wait to do in terms of cryptocurrency. But what's neat about Polkadot is that Polkadot covers all of these. So when we cover all of Polkadot, and I'll explain what it is in a minute to the best of my ability, it's going to cover a whole gambit of stuff that in the next like 10 to 20 episodes, we're going to cover in depth on this show. And it'll be basically, you don't have to watch them in order, but most of them are going to progress in a certain order in terms of coding and understanding. So that's one of the reasons why we're covering Polkadot. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Plus, I just thought I was really curious, and it's a big hot button topic for very important reasons. Two quick things also here. All of you in chat are probably wondering why I look like a very low rent version of Tim Pool right now. First of all, I apologize for reminding you everyone that Pim Tool exists, and especially considering he's having a meltdown right now. Serves him right over all the stuff that's been going on. Literally serves him right, wing. Terrorist, I might add. But The reason why I'm wearing this is because we live in Jersey City, which means none of the buildings are up to code really. And yeah, that's what I have to deal with. Now, I know if you're Canadian or you live in like Seattle or something, you're probably laughing at this number, but this is still pretty freaking cold. I mean, that's 28. And I haven't reloaded this page. It says it feels like 17. I'm going to reload it, and I bet you anything it's going to get colder because it is plummeting right now. So it's 27, feels like 16. If I remember correctly, it's going to go down to somewhere between 18 to 14 degrees tonight. That's why I'm wearing this beanie. You're probably hearing a humming thing in the background. That's this heater off to the side of me, facing me full blast to make sure I literally don't freeze both my assets and my body. So that's why I have the beanie right now. So I apologize with trigger warning if this beanie reminds you about Tim Pool. I can officially show you that there is not another side pocket underneath this beanie. It's just a bunch of matted hair. So if that alleviates your conspiracy theories about me, I can do that for you. Just note that it's really freaking cold outside. Lastly, remember how I said before about DLive and there's that weird counter bar at the bottom, at top? First of all, I keep forgetting to add the end goal. It's supposed to say 80 out of 100. Thank you for all 80 people who have subscribed to us on DLive. That's absolutely amazing. But there's a reason why I have that bar up there, and that's because on DLive, and then we are immediately going to get into Polkadot. They're doing a campaign rally called DLive Crypto Superstar. Now, I want to be a superstar. Just giving a pause for all the cringe out there for everyone, unfortunately, remembering the 90s with that reference. And if you don't remember that, now you know how freaking old I am. But yeah, they have this whole campaign going on called DLive Crypto Superstar, and it would help out particularly crypto barons if we were able to achieve this. And it gives us a lot of resources to do a lot of the crazy coding stuff with cryptocurrency we're going to be doing throughout the year. And the nuts part is that when I looked up the how to join, we have all of these stream 4 hours a week or at least upload 2 videos per week on your DLive channel, host 5 unique crypto related channels every 2 months, blockchain related content, 1,000 followers on your existing 1,000 followers on your existing platform. We have over 1,000 on multiple platforms, all that. The only thing we don't have is we don't have 100 followers on our DLive channel. We are currently at 80. So if you're currently watching or on DLive, please follow us. It costs you nothing, and again, we like giving out lemons at the end of each episode here. If you heard that there's someone on DLive, um, recommend them the channel, dlive.tv/defcon201, and have them follow us. Or if you're really good, like you're on Twitch or something, make a DLive account and subscribe to us. We just want to get to that 100 follower goal so we can apply to be a cryptocurrency superstar and literally live out our cryptocurrency superstar dreams. So that way we can do a lot more on Crypto Barons. So now the housekeeping is out of the way. Sorry to waste all of your time with that. Let's get into Polkadot. So what is Polkadot? Well, before we can properly explain what Polkadot is, let's sort of explain where Polkadot came from. And again, I normally had preloaded videos on this, but it's going to take too long to set up right now. I do have 2 of the videos on YouTube. I will air them through YouTube because I know exactly what they are. But one last thing real quick. Speaking of cleanup, February 5th, all the way until the morning of February 6th, there is the Black in Cybersecurity, or BIC. No, it's not the shaving stuff and the pens. It's Blacks in Cybersecurity Winter Conference. If you want to be a uber elite hacker, and especially if you're a hacker, the people of person of color, there's the link in chat. I'm gonna live stream in particular my reactions to it during that weekend. Thought I would shout that out on this show because I'm going to be shouting this out until they actually air. So let's kind of go into the whole thing of Polkadot. This is current Polkadot, and you can see, and I can refresh the page, Polkadot is doing really well. Its main crypto token, which is not even the project's main focus, I might add, literally yesterday was at $14. It jumped all the way to $18. And it just keeps climbing. Like you can see here, it's like the project kind of started middle last year, gained some traction. They did some background stuff. They build up all their stuff. We're going to get into all that. And then they've just skyrocketed in like the past 3 months. So let's kind of get into a bit of what is Polkadot. So before we read this description, let's go into kind of how everything happened. So it's funny that people keep mentioning that Polkadot is something that is competing with and trying to replace Ethereum, because at least one of their founders, which is Dr. Gavin Wood, Wood. Dr. Wood. Anyhow, because I'm a perverted mind, and many of the people on board of the actual people who build this stuff originally worked and founded on Ethereum. And uh, basically, and I'm going to show you a video in a moment about this because we like checking out cryptocurrency videos because even if the cryptocurrency or blockchain platform sucks, it's good recon to kind of see how they want to present themselves and how they feel about themselves, which could be either back up all of their claims or contrast of what they're not doing. So we'll get into that in a moment, but I thought I'd give some context here. And basically, Ethereum at this point, and we'll get into why in future episodes, have become very rigid. It's a big coin, and it's a bigger decentralized app platform. But you know, there's been a lot of controversy in it. It's been outdated. That's why they had to upgrade to Ethereum 2.0. And all these folks broke away and they formed the Web3 Foundation, which is a Swiss foundation that wants to basically usher an actual practical Web 3.0. So instead of everyone talking about concepts of what a decentralized internet backed up like blockchain will look like, they want receipts, they want results, they want to bring this into actual fruition, and will constantly put the horse ahead of the cart on that. And to kind of show you what a lot of people cite as the breaking point for a lot of this, you probably remember a couple of episodes ago we talked about actual hacks that people do to blockchains, wallets, and cryptocurrencies, and we covered the Parallelity wallet hack. And this is a hack, and we're not going to go into in depth about exactly what the hack was, but basically, by using a bunch of call functions and borking how they work in the Ethereum blockchain, it basically horrifically corrupted the entire chain and allowed malicious hackers, a lot of who are bad hombres, access to the Ethereum backend, which allowed people to break into the Parity versions of the wallets. There was a lot of blame being pointed around, but a lot of it was pointed at the way the Ethereum Foundation basically had to how you have to bend to their rules, and some of them are kind of unsafe. And this, what a lot of people cited as the breaking point to a lot of Ethereum people leaving over and then kind of starting up this whole Polkadot thing. So, what is Polkadot? Well, I'm going to jump into the YouTubes since I unfortunately did not preload. There we are streaming. I did not unfortunately preload all of the videos that we are going to see because I'm an idiot. So let's talk to Dr. Wood himself and see what he believes. Oh, this is actually a different thing. Hold on, there's a different Polkadot thing. Now, Mr. Wood, we're gonna get to that in a moment. But let's go over here and let's look at this quick little infograph that I think does a really good job of kind of explaining what Polkadot is, because I could boringly read you what it is, but I think this is a lot better to say and do in plain English. So let's do some recon and watch this together.
This is a blockchain. Blockchains can be useful for all sorts of things, from improving open access to financial services to providing a better, safer way to manage our data online. Blockchains are used to build applications for gaming, supply chain logistics, social media, the Internet of Things, and more. But up until now, protocol limitations have made blockchain technology impractical for most real-world use cases. Networks composed of a single blockchain, for example, can only process a limited number of transactions. If too many transactions are submitted at once, a bottleneck occurs, causing delays and increased transaction fees. That won't work. What's needed is a way for blockchains, designed for specific purposes, to work together efficiently and securely at scale. This is Polkadot, a sharded blockchain protocol that unites an entire network of diverse blockchains into a single decentralized ecosystem. Polkadot makes it easier than ever for software developers, startups, and enterprises to make efficient use of blockchain technology in precisely the way that's best for their project. Polkadot makes blockchain scalable and customizable. It also unlocks cross-chain communication, transparent governance, and, for the first time ever, a way to seamlessly upgrade blockchains. How does it work? Meet the Polkadot relay chain. This is the heart of the Polkadot network. All blockchains on Polkadot are connected here, like spokes connected to the hub of a wheel. Each blockchain connected to the relay chain can be optimized for a specific use case. This allows teams to incorporate exactly the functionality they need and offers greater efficiency and security than building on a general-purpose blockchain. Teams can also drastically reduce the build time of their custom blockchain by building it with Substrate, our modular development framework. The relay chain allows Polkadot to process transactions from all chains in the network at the same time, drastically increasing scalability. This simultaneous transaction processing, also called parallel processing, is why blockchains on Polkadot are called parachains. The relay chain also provides a secure way for chains to communicate with each other. Polkadot's cross-chain messaging scheme allows chains to exchange any type of data. For example, a token, an account balance, or even information from the real world, like a stock price or the final score of a sporting event. This interoperability promotes innovation on new types of services that leverage the specific capabilities of different chains, for example, for decentralized finance applications. So, what about governance? Other blockchain protocols often have a small group of stakeholders making crucial decisions in an opaque way for the entire network. Polkadot is governed transparently on-chain by all stakeholders who wish to participate, by proposing and voting on referenda, using Polkadot's native token, the DOT. Individual parachain teams are completely sovereign and free to govern their own blockchains in any way they see fit. When it comes to upgrades, the process for updating conventional blockchains can cause a hard fork, a divergence in the chain that can take months of work, and risk splitting a community in two. Polkadot is the first protocol to enable forkless, on-chain upgrades. This capability means teams can bring new features to their blockchain on Polkadot, easier and faster than with any other protocol. Polkadot also enables bridges to other networks like Bitcoin or Ethereum for cross-network functionality and communication. Never before has there been a protocol for connecting diverse blockchains together and allowing them to communicate safely with each other at scale in a decentralized way. Polkadot makes blockchain technology accessible and practical for teams innovating real-world applications for a better future. This is Blockchain Unbounded. Are you ready to start building?
Just want to note that Blockchain Unbound is also the working title for my upcoming cryptocurrency romance novel. But yeah, that was a lot to cover there, and let's get back to the thing. I know that was a lot of information there. We're not gonna go over every single bit of it, but we're gonna try to cover as much as we can. Um, so rewinding back a bit, one of the first things you need to know about Polkadot is the main organization that is fronting this, as well as all of its sister technologies, and that would be the Web3 Foundation. As we said before, there's been a lot of pushes for what's known as a Web 3.0. Now, we all know much how Web 2.0 was a giant smoke blowing up our ass. Like, the only thing, in my opinion, that was kind of good that came out of that was HTML5, because that allowed us to get rid of like terrible things such as Silverlight and Flash. By the way, also RIP Flash for all the amazing Flash games out there. You gave us Homestar Runner and Foamy the Squirrel, so you couldn't be that bad. But outside of that, basically we replaced all of that Flash and Java bloat with JavaScript and PHP bloat. So everything. So at least I could say with Web 1.0, you could actually load the New York Times front page. Now, good luck doing that without having like 16 gigabytes of RAM. Basically, the running, Is this the front page in the New York Times, or is this Cyberpunk 2077? Seems to be the same amount of bugs that take up 1 billion gigabytes. So Web 3.0 is something that's being pushed particularly by a lot of cryptocurrency and blockchain foundations, where the idea is that this is fueled by not only blockchain technology, which would be better for indexing, securing, as well as privacy functions, but could also potentially decentralize web applications and websites and backend web portals themselves. However, and this is basically, for example, what Ethereum eventually wants to do with their entire platform. However, what I find interesting about Web3 Foundation is that, again, most of the times people talk about theories, there's some test examples. There's nothing ever really concrete. There's no real concrete plan. There's no, like, even test examples on how any of this stuff would work, which is why basically so far with DApps, and we'll get to that on the DApp episode, or DApps, I don't know which one to call it. Chat, what should I call them? Should I call decentralized apps DApps or DApps? Let me know. I personally find DApps easier to say, although it sounds like I'm taking a very small burp, but I want everything to be comfortable for everyone watching. But as we know with decentralized apps, we basically have CryptoKitties and maybe the Mirror Mask extension. I'm gonna say Mirror Max, like we're protesting that Kevin Mitnick movie. But that's it. Not really much has been built on this. Web3's kind of thing is to give grants and research to people who are already building stuff to actually build things. And the backbone of this is Polkadot, and a lot of it's springing off of the Polkadot network. But even from what I can tell with the Polkadot network themselves, they, like I said, we're going to try to run stuff later, but even if we have errors, even if it's just on our client end, it really seems like they actually sat there and thought most of this stuff out. And that's not perfect, but they actually, again, they have a test net that's working. They have multiple test nets. They have code. They have examples. They have light papers and white papers. They have everything you need there in order to build stuff. And just kind of bring up more of the Web3 philosophy here. Let's go back to Dr. Wood, and he's going to give an explanation. Remember, he's an ex-member of the people who developed Ethereum, and we're going to hear a quick thing of him explaining to us how Polkadot and like hardcore Web 3.0 people, including Web 3, see what what Web 3.0 actually is and how it contrasts to the internet we currently have today.
I think there were a lot of people that really believed the internet was going to be a transformative technology for society. And I think what happened was the internet was designed in such a way that it allowed, it was flexible. It allowed existing structures of society, existing ways of doing business, to simply move over onto the digital domain. So when we do banking on the internet, we still use a bank, we still use our existing brick and mortar, traditional 400-year-old banking organization. It's just that we access them through a web page. It hasn't really altered society, it really wasn't transformative. And I think that's ever more clear when we think about Facebook, when we think about Google. These are not new ways of working, new ways of people working together. In reality, they're the same kinds of structures. They're the same hierarchical organizations that have the same centralized bank accounts, that have the same sort of multinational structure as all of the various other Fortune 500 corporate companies. In reality, to change society, we really need to do something better than creating technologies that just allow us to mirror how society works anyway. We need to create technologies that forge new ways of being able to work with each other. And that's different to new ways of being able to communicate with each other. It's also got to be new ways of being able to organize and trust that each other is going to do what they need to do in order to have some sort of shared conclusion or ramification to the cooperation. And that's really a big component of Web3. Web3 is really about allowing people to come together and coordinate their efforts for something greater than the sum of its parts.
So that was sort of the perspective there of Dr. Wood. Ha ha ha. Hello, Palatinos. Palatinos? I hope I pronounced your username correctly. Am I on the nose, Palatinos? Or Palatinos? Is it nose or nos? Let me know in chat. Let me know if I said it right. But thank you. Yo, I see you in chat. I see you. It's like that terrible James Cameron Avatar movie. I see you. So, that's sort of like what we mean by decentralized internet. Palantino. Okay, Palantino. Nice to see you, Palantino, in chat. Thank you for being here. We're just going to go over Polkadot here, and now we're going to actually hit the meat of it. This is the part where I start going insane, and then when we get to the terminal, I'm going to really go insane. So that's sort of what they mean by a decentralized internet, what that sort of thing means. I would actually want to add to his point that when we talk about things like Google and Facebook, one of these days I'm actually going to air this entire thing at one of our meetings. And there was it was a couple of years back. I can't remember her name, unfortunately. I remember her being there on like the early internet days on like old like V-Bulletin forums. And they had this amazing keynote at Black Hat USA where she basically her whole keynote was I hate that I'm right. And one of her main arguments, which she said back in the day, like before the millennium happened, was her fear, which I agree mostly came true, which is that the internet would turn into cable television. So it would start off, and it can't be wild, wild west and small forever, and it needs to be some give or take. But think about it. No one, for example, says the word surfing the web anymore. Why not? Because you can basically boil the entire internet to like 5 or 6 websites. Most people don't. There's no individual websites for anything. You basically go on to what is it? Use Google, Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Amazon, Pornhub, and then Google to find everything else. That's literally pretty much, that's like 90% about the entire current internet and use of the internet. So it went from this like US libertarian pie in the sky, oh, we have so much diverse thought and there'll be so much information, like Wikipedia will be king, which I love Wikipedia, by the way, this, to 6 channels, like how we started off with television. And that's why I don't know how well this idea of a Web 3.0 is going to go, but I am interested in it, and I'd like to, if we're going to do new protocols again, I would hopefully learn that they learn from the previous protocols of the web and more of like the financial, business, and social culture sense to not make the same mistakes that, the terrible US libertarians that built the internet did. I know I shit on them a lot, but trust me, I was banned in a lot of places where a lot of those people now are like senior engineers of Google and they go to therapy, and I hate being right. So let's rewind back to Polkadot here. So there was a lot of stuff that we saw in that video. Now we know Web3 Foundation is the group that sets it up, and basically, let's go over here. Let's try to find this. Is that they initiated this around in May. The network actually went live. There's a little bit of the behind the code thing. And that's sort of like, so the Polkadot network was built for a while, but it came live like mid-net last year, and then it basically exploded. And we're now in 2020, and I don't know if I'm going to try to zoom into this. But yeah, now their whole interface thing, I can't even read those letters there, but it's huge. It's huge. And they've just been expanding, and as you can see, the actual cap goes up, and you have 2 different, and we're going to get into this in a moment, power chains going on at the same time for 2 different things. And they've had their own conventions before COVID screwed everyone over, and things like that, and that's where we're kind of at today. So this is the Polkadot with this giant obnoxious bar that now I'm going to zoom out of so that people can see everything better, because we will get into that thing at the bottom. But yeah, let's see what we could go over here. So there's a couple of things that makes Polkadot unique. One of them, and probably its main hook, despite the silly word, but then again, Google, Lexus, and IKEA, and we are weird words, is that, as I said, it's true I'm going to try to pronounce this. I'm an American, so I can't read. So here we go. Interoperability. Interoperability. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that I'm gonna stick with that. Um, Whereas you saw, there's sort of like kind of one chain, but that chain, as they called it, is a relay chain. So while there's major stuff that's on that main chain, what it exists for is for other splinter chains. So for example, from my understanding of Ethereum, you have to hard fork Ethereum to build something on the Ethereum platform. So you can either build stuff directly on the existing chain, which now is like billions of miles and trillion and like terabytes or petabytes of data at this point, and then struggle with like the delays and how they set up the network back in the Stone Age, which I think was 2011 or 2015, somewhere between there. Ethereum happened. I think it was 2011. Or you hard forked it, and then they're like, "Hey, go fuck yourself," and you have to start everything from scratch, and you have to define what your token is from scratch, and you have to re-implement the chain and hope that your servers don't melt, and all of that. The way Polkadot, from my understanding, gets around this is again, they have one central chain. Think of it like a human being's spine, like in the a nervous network. That your those nerves don't really do much outside of the brainstem. It is literally a highway to get to the rest of your nerves that then connect to all the different parts of your body. So you have all these splinter chains, and this is awesome because basically, and this is how they solve the speed problem, for example, that Bitcoin has. Bitcoin and Ethereum are one chain, and notorious particularly with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure you could make like 50 Earths with how long the chain is. Um, like if you took the Earth and peeled it like an orange, so it's like one straight line, you could probably line up 50 of them, and that's probably the current block. At least that's the way it feels. And so if you ever bought or like tried to purchase something with Bitcoin, which I have, and you send like 1/20th of a Satoshi through the chain, and then 3 days later you the transaction happened. It reminds me of the what do you call it? It reminds me of the Daily Show's thing where they used to make fun of how bad reception iPhones have, where it would probably be easier to like put cryptocurrency like Bitcoin onto a paper wallet, run over to the person you want to give it to and hand it to them, then for the chain to recognize your purchase. Let's see. How long have you been in the crypto game? Um, I've been. I don't know if you got the in the beginning. I'm not like a legal expert or a financial expert or anything. But I would say been dabbling in and out of it ever since like Bitcoin like roughly got announced, because I remember that original Satoshi paper and it was being kicked around, and then people figured out how to do like actual setup and mining for it. And then it just skyrocketed. So I've been in and out of then. I will say I probably got more involved in like the early 2010s, where I was way more fascinated with the way blockchain technology was being implemented that wasn't financial. So like one of the first things that I remember, and we covered this when we covered the Zero Net. You can go look at that episode after this stream, and then we'll go back to Polkadot because it actually kind of relates to Polkadot here. Um, there was an awesome hacker who showed how you could burn a Bitcoin. So what you did is you nullified all the financial data that's normally basically the two hashes that are in a the hash calculation that's in a Bitcoin, and now you can put any data in there. So his idea was a library where you could put like ebooks in there. You could also put images and videos and stuff, and now you could use the chain to validate it in the same way to do money, proving that blockchains don't have to be hardwired to a financial system. It's a computer with data. You can use it for everything, and that idea really sparked off a ton of things, from ZeroNet to Namecoin to Gitcoin, which we're going to cover in the near future. Polkadot here, because as I say, you can put any data on its power chains or splinter chains and all of that stuff. So going back to the original topic, by the way, if anyone has any questions or shout outs that aren't being a dick, let me know in chat. I love talking with chat. Otherwise, keep lurking, keep learning. And if you like what you see, you can click that bell, hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch D Live, YouTube, Facebook, or PeerTube. Although mainly the Twitch D Live and YouTube, especially on D Live. If you follow us on D Live, that counter goes up, and I'll be very happy. We're going to be releasing. Did we get a follow here? Thank you, Polkadots, for following us again. But Palatinos, thank you for following us again. So Palatino, I mean. Ugh. But yeah, especially if you're on DLive and you follow us, we're trying to get to that $100. That's $100 subscriber goal. It doesn't cost you anything to follow and subscribe. You just click on it, and then we can do more, way better Crypto Baron stuff. Thanks to DLive. So just want to put that out there. We do get notifications as you see there, so that's neat. Anyhow, let's go back to Polkadot. So the way Polkadot solves this problem, whether it's financial or just pure data, is again, there's one chain that refers to other chains, and it can maintainers and other people can spawn their own chains. And what's neat with their own chains, it spawns and it has its own structure, but it's not bound in the main chain. So you can spin off a chain. Let's say I wanted to do something where we're gonna use like an in-game currency, like the way like Mario does coins, but instead of like programming its own counter system, we're gonna use blockchain to validate those coins. This is not an actual money thing. This is just like a way to just pay when you win like 5 rubles in the game or 5 blorps or whatever. It counts that, and then it has and then it knows when you get some and lose some and it doesn't leave. So we can do what's called a power chain, which is essentially a soft mirror fork of the main chain. And it comes with everything you would need to do. And you can just plug and play in what your coin is, what it means, how the network works and stuff. And the main relay chain will remember that and can reference you, but you're not bound hardcore to any of the rule set that the main chain does. And this is great because let's just use the main dot as an example. Let's say it's being used as an actual currency because it does have some money value, even though that's not its main point. Let's say just all of a sudden, like Elon Musk says, I can't say that. Elon Musk is like, I just bought Polkadot, and everyone goes, Elon Musk Polkadot, and they go on and they buy up all the dots. All of them. All the dots. The dot from Animaniacs disappears, just all of them. On Bitcoin, that would crash the chain for like 4 days straight. You wouldn't get one transaction in for days on end because it's literally like a traffic jam. Imagine like one lane. It's like the Jersey Turnpike. One lane, assholes cutting everyone off, and like one pothole the size of a coffee cup happens, the whole thing doesn't work, falls apart. What the multi-chain allows to do is if 2 of those power chains are full, it just moves them over to the other chains. And if I remember correctly, I think they're either currently have or implementing a system where if there's too many low chains, even relay chains, it will then spawn new chains to compensate. So let's say you have like 4 relay chains. If like 2 of them are completely stopped and the third one is being compromised, that 4th one will spawn automatically new chains. So it scales to what the demand is on the chain itself, how many blocks are being created, including all of the power chains that are related to the main chain, and that solves the speed problem. It's like if you ever played the 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games and you kind of hop rail to rail to avoid objects, that's essentially what Polkadot's doing. So it actually properly scales. That I think is one of the main features of this chain. Let's see what else we can get into here in my notes. Here's kind of the light paper for it. I think this is cool. They made a light paper. For those who don't know, we've been talking about white papers for so long, and I'm not going to load up the white paper for here because it's like the Bible. It's like 8 million pages and there's no answers. Also, doesn't this look like a weird coronavirus spinoff? Anyhow, I just cursed the image. A light paper is where they take the white paper and go, okay, the white paper is for people who masturbate to radio instructions. Now, or software-defined radio. Now, let's take all that information and put pretty pictures in it and like words people actually use and explain everything in plain English. And that's what a light paper is. And that's been a new trend. Very few, even some of the big cryptocurrency ones, like I think Ethereum doesn't even have a light paper. Polkadot has one because they thought things through. So there's this whole nice like table of contents. We can skip through here. And I'll put the link to this in chat. It's their whole tagline is, this is blockchain unbound dot at the end. See, nice little advertising. As you see here, it says many chains, one network. As I said, all blockchains make trade-offs to support specific features and use cases. As a chain specializes, they increase their need. Let's actually zoom in a bit more. Let's see here. the need to transaction between them will only increase over time. Polkadot is a sharded blockchain. We're going to get into that in a moment, meaning it connects several chains together in a single network, allowing them to process transactions in parallel and exchange data between chains with security guarantees. Thanks to Polkadot Unique's sharding model, each chain in the network can be optimized for a specific use case rather than be forced to adapt to one-size-fits-all model. Again, when we're going to do this in the near future, when you do stuff with Ethereum, unless you hard fork from it, you're bound to all of Ethereum's base rules. You're apparently not bound for this in Polkadot, and there's kind of this nice little visuals here. And again, you're able to actually scale with the network. And another cool thing that was said in the video is the forkless upgrades, which again, let's say Ethereum forks and then there's like Ethereum, and then Ethereum comes out with this amazing Mimblewimble 2.0 protocol. As we saw with Ethereum 2.0, it will literally take years for Ethereum to go. It's like Internet Explorer. It's like, oh shit, that's a good idea. When they did that 7 years ago, let's do that now. And they're like horribly behind. With Polkadot's, like the way they do their system, where it will look at other chains and people can vote on like features and stuff. And we're getting to the voting process in the moment. It actually ties to the dot part, and then we're gonna get into a ton of commands. Everyone, it's basically easier to upgrade, so the chain will actively upgrade. And it's designed that when you do an upgrade, you don't have to like halt the chain and do it, or destroy make a hard fork, destroy the previous chain, put it. It just plops right in like a Lego and continues going forward, which I think is really cool. That's a very smart design. Again, that would actually allow it to, if you want to have a decentralized network, being able to decentralize things better. That's an actual scalability thing. We're going to get into community powered in a moment and how it connects the dots. That's why it's called Polkadot. Here's the main thing here. So you have, it's so weird how this looks like a coronavirus. Because yes, there's multiple coronavirus. It's not the coronavirus, but it so much looks like a coronavirus, hence the crown, aka the corona. Is you have the relay chain here. It's the heart of Polkadot. It's responsible for the network security, consensus, and the cross chain here. And then you have all of these power chains, which are, as they write here, sovereign blockchains that can have their own token and optimize functionality for specific use cases. Because as I said in the video, there's cryptocurrencies that do one thing really well. We've covered them, like Gridcoin does CPU and GPU processing for math really well, hence why it's used for scientific stuff. But it's really hard to like implement Gridcoin in a video game, you know? As much as folding at home feels like a video game. And if you make something too vague like Ethereum, again, you're kind of like, how do I build this? I have no tools. The power chains, again, can be independent, and they don't affect the main network unless someone votes features of that power chain in, and it connects to the whole relay chain. And let's say power chains can pay as they go or lease a slot for continuous connectivity. And then from those power chains, you can have bridges to other networks. So you can make a power chain, for example, where let's say your power chain has to do with a conversion token, so you can take the votes you're not using in dots and turn them into Bitcoin, because it can connect to the Bitcoin network. It has all of those interfacing portals for that level of scalability. So not only can it scale bigger wide, it can easily connect to other networks, including the current internet, other blockchain systems, theoretically probably Tor, and etc. It also has this whole consensus system here, which, see, I love these. The hardest part about doing CryptoBarons is trying to find good visual examples, because we're a live streaming show, and this is just beautiful. Like, bravo to whoever honestly wrote this. So these black bars here in this visual example are validators. We're going to look at those in a moment. They secure the relay chain, so they stake the dot votes in here, which is dot is their actual crypto. That's the actual cryptocurrency or coin that they use. And you can proof of stake them. And so when you proof of stake these, they validate in the collectors, and those are the validating nodes. And then you have nominators, which secure the relay chain by selecting trustworthy validators. So this is kind of the voting consistent pool. So that way, if one validator is doing something skeevy, I'm looking at you, Tether, they can vote and either ignore them while consideration for booting off the network and focused on others. And then you have these dots, which are collectors, and so they maintain the shards, and we're going to explain what the shards are in a moment. So they collect the shard transactions from users, and they produce proof for those validators, and that's how they generate, so that way for the nominators, they know what to go on. And then you have the fishermen, because we can't get away from Bible Pay and look at the December episode if you want to see that insanity. Which monitor the network and report bad behavior to validators. That's where we get the nominators from. Collectors in any parachain full node, collectors and any parachain full complete nodes can perform the fisherman roles. This is better. I wish the U.S. government was like this. There's a lot of checks and balances from what I can see here that does this robust system. Remember, this is just one parachain, and then you have all of these connected to a relay chain that can also interface bridge out into other networks. Like you can see where we're kind of getting at here. And then there's also the governance rules, which we're going to go back to, and the dot token, which I believe is, let's see here, we're going to cover in a moment. So yeah, this is a really nice, extensive, and we're going to keep going back to this light paper here. So that's basically kind of how the whole chain looks. Now let's look a little bit into some of the actual tech terms and stuff that they're using to build the rest of this, because you could only have enough for like nodes and validators. What other stuff makes Polkadot unique? So let's get into blockchain sharding here. So here we go. This is going to drive me crazy. Thankfully, this is going to be a really quick thing. So sharding is a type of data partitioning system or method. So you can, what do you call it? You can basically unload data, they unload stuff like data in the system, and then through that, then you can provide access to any of the points in the stored data. So think of it like extensive containerizing, where each thing is separate yet connected to each other in all parts of the database, and those are called shards. So it's like, instead of jails or containers or, God forbid, Kubernetes or Dockers, shards are essentially basically organized small bits of data, but instead of having like a true it does have a hierarchy, but it's a lot less. It's only like usually like 3-tiered, and all the other shards also know that the other shards exist, so it's really easy for the data for you when you're looking through data, or a shard looking for other pieces of data, to hop through the system to find another shard. It's been around since the late 1990s. Oh, this is a fun factoid. Apparently, the term got popularized thanks to the MMO game Ultima Online, because, people who make major infrastructures are nerdy as fuck, which is why there's like the Sonic the Hedgehog gene and shit like that. So, thank you, Ultima Online, for coming up with a major blockchain system that might change the entire web. Richard Garrett, I shake my fist at you. I hope everyone got that joke. So we're going to read here. So basically you have this hierarchical system here. So like Ethereum, for example, which also uses a kind of proto-shard system, has 8,200 active nodes, sustains a healthy environment when it's not getting hacked, uses proof of work as opposed to, and we're going to get to Ethereum later when we build dApps for it in future episodes. So Jack said the term has spread long beyond Ultimate Online, has become a generic gaming term. Yes, it has, just like everything else, it starts off on Star Trek and it ends up on the Senate floor. That's how everything works now. So you have all in the chain. You have multiple the different blocks in the shard data, and you can cross transaction between the two. And again, I'm just briefly covering this, so that way it's just like, okay, now we get the idea of what sharding is, and we can move on, because you can see with these tabs we have a lot of stuff to cover. So when they're talking about in the light paper, let's get back to it, about like the different shards, the different shards on the different parachains. That's what they mean by that. The other thing, and this is going to drive me more crazy, is, let's see if I can get the actual word description here for it, because I used to remember it and then my brain blanked out. Let's see. Otherwise, I'll just start rambling. Is dear old grandpa. Now, it sounds old, but basically, this secures block finality, which this is sort of like the meat and potatoes of the kind of verification system, and provides most of the security for the chain. As it says here, one common misconception about blockchain consensus, and let me kind of zoom in a bit more so everyone can read here. I'm basically saving my brain power for when I actually have to do the commands, which is why I'm going to bring the new hydration squad. See, I can pre-prep water here. Ooh, that's good stuff. Good old toxic New Jersey water that causes fish to grow three eyes on the Simpsons. Scroll down here. One common misconception about blockchain consensus is that it's all about producing a valid history of transactions. In fact, anyone can make a sequence of transactions on their own computer, which is valid. See our first episode, CryptoBarons, when we made our own chain. The hard part is getting everyone to agree on which valid history of transactions to use. This is where consensus comes in. We covered, again, when we did our first episode about that, where, as we described with blockchains, it's like, let's say it's like a poker table, but instead of everyone having chits, everyone basically has their own written ledger, and you keep track of all the math. And then when there's a dispute happens, or every once in a while, everyone compares notes, and that way you know that there's a notes off. There was either a mistake or someone lied. The whole agreeing process through the chain with the ledger is consensus. This is, have you ever developed a Polkadot network before? No. This is just stuff that I took a week to study. There's a lot of stuff, and my brain doesn't work half the time. Again, I'm saving my stuff for the commands. In a bit, in like, what time? Yeah, in literally probably about 10 to 20 minutes from now, we are going to run commands. And that's going to be fun. So, like, we're not going to do, like, development code, but we're going to, like, with DM, like Facebook's horrible DM system, set up and connect the test network. We also might play some music, and you might watch the terminal go as music plays. And we're gonna see if we can get anything working, and hopefully we can both get it working without knocking the stream offline like DM almost did. So I haven't developed for it yet, but that's why I'm bringing this up, because I am fascinated with all this, and this is like all my research on this. It's a lot of crazy topics. Uh, so as I said here, there's a lot of algorithms that do the consensus process. They usually use two main properties: safety and liveliness. Safety kind of explains itself, where that way, that basically no one gets suckered into a false promise, because that's how hackers can wedge their ways in when in terms of consensus. And liveliness is making sure that everything eventually is agreed on, that like processes is not skipped in the process. And grandpa, oh god, we also covered Byzantine. This is making my brain hurt, because we covered synchronous, partially synchronous, asynchronous. When we covered security cryptocurrencies, we're covering Monero and Dash and Grin and stuff like that. You can see here, I like this. This is so cute. Like the two groups here and the maliciousness. And this is actually part of the problem, which is when nodes, especially considering the multi-chain setup of a Polkadot, cannot talk to each other. And this is where malicious people can come in and sort of wedge their way in. And you can see here, there's many chains here, but each have a common prefix. So basically, I'm probably going to go into this a bit later, because again, my brain's currently on fire right now. But Grandpa is this. Oh, and I need to put links in chat. Grandpa is basically their system, and for some reason, I used to remember what Grandpa stood. Oh, here we go. Ghost-based recursive ancestor-driven prefix agreement. Doesn't that sound like something from like what do you call it? Like Back to the Future? You know, 8.1 gigawatts and like the flux capacitor system for time travel. This is basically how they use it, and I'm just going to read what they wrote here. The key insight behind Grandpa is the idea of incorporating the blockchain structure into the consensus algorithm. So instead of having two separate systems, it's one thing together. One piece of intuition is that considering a block valid implies considering that a block parent is valid, and so on, which is actually, if this was humans doing it, that would be considered a cognitive bias. There's an actual term for it in ancient Rome, where it's basically said something like, because one thing is true, that by default means the other thing's true, and as we know in real life, that's not necessarily the case. Like, for example, like, if I saw a banana and it's yellow, I would assume because that banana is yellow, that means all bananas are yellow, that's not the case. There are blue bananas. Bananas originally start off as green before they turn yellow. There are black bananas when they spoil, things like that. That's a cognitive bias. Yes, very ominous. So that would literally be considered a bias. And so they're saying, here's a simple explanation of the algorithm. Rather than voting on a single block, Grandpa allows participants to vote on the highest block that they think is valid, and that algorithm transitively applies to vote on all ancestors of that block. Oh, so this is neat. So basically, this is their way of validating the entire chain with not having to go through the entire chain. Let's see. I'm looking at this image here and studying it. See total stake here. So node 1 votes, and that votes. I see here, because this fork connects to D2 here, and D2 and D1 connects to C, and they're basically doing some hash sums and other vote validations to essentially make sure that the whole chain runs through. Because of this strategy of finding the highest common ancestor with a supermajority considers valid, Grandpa is also adaptive. It can finalize a new block regardless of how many blocks have passed since the last block was finalized. If network latencies are low, Grandpa can finalize blocks almost instantly, and when recovering from a long network partition, Grandpa can finalize millions of blocks at once without any message overhead. That's fascinating. I'm kind of, even though this sounds like this would be a great fast method, this is a great fast method to do stuff, to be honest, as we covered previously when we were talking about, like, very briefly, amount of smart contracts and how how you validate, like, hash sums and blocks and stuff like that, which explains why things like Bitcoin are slow. I am kind of fascinated to see that as Polkadot gets popular. I'm pretty sure in similar the way Mimblewimble was repeatedly attacked. Because here's the thing. Anything can get hacked, by the way. Like, literally everything. It's more of your threat modeling, and also, like, if you do get pwned, what do you do? What do, as the e-girls say, if I was dressed like this, what would you do? What would you do? So, you know, Mimblewimble used to, unfortunately, was seen as a silver bullet, and even though Mimblewimble is decent, like, good security, especially compared to a lot of other cryptocurrency stuff, and there's patch improvements to it since then, it eventually got kind of busted wide open to some degree. That's inevitable to happen. So it'd be very interesting to see that if Polkadot gets, I'm sorry for making the screen shake, but it'd be interesting to see that as Polkadot gets more popular, if Grandpa itself might be a vector of attack. Although it says here that voting in Grandpa happens off-chain and finality is not registered on-chain. However, Grandpa participants are staked on-chain, and conflicting proofs of finality will lead to equivalent or double voting participants to be discovered and punished. So there is a sort of a self-check system in there, and it needs 2/3 of the. Let's see here, the future. Yeah, like this honestly sounds mostly sound, so I'm not going to make any comments on it, but it will be. I can actually literally see this as a vector point of attack. I'm not saying this is weak or anything. What I am saying is that, you know, as soon as you say this is our security or validation system, hackers go challenge accepted and just dive in first. And, you know, it's one thing when one hacker does it, but when you have all the lemmings doing it at the same time, eventually something cracks. So this is sort of an interesting system to do that here. And I did study Grandpa earlier, but then I ate food and died when I walked down the 18-degree weather. So, sorry, the 27-degree weather. It's still not an improvement. So that's Grandpa, and that's its validation system for the chain itself using the voting consensus system. And how does the voting consensus system work? Unfortunately, not the Animaniacs dot, but close. So Don John Wan from Twitch just wrote, as I switch back into here, do you believe blockchain technology and an ecosystem like Polkadot with its scaling capabilities is the future decentralized web? Okay, I'm going to jump ahead of here a little bit and then talk about and go dot token the rest, but let me kind of sum up how I feel about this. I think what Polkadot is doing is really good next steps. And part of the thing that I like about good next steps is, again, I don't know if any of this stuff works because I did all the prerequisites for the terminal stuff to work. We're going to do the install and activation on this thing and hope that the computer doesn't die or the stream doesn't die. I honestly think from what I look at it, despite both being made technically on Rust, that I think it's going to run a lot better than Facebook's DM. If it does, I'm going to laugh because that should really show you how crappy Facebook is. However, I think the thing about decentralized web. So let's talk a little quickly about something with Bitcoin. There are multiple reasons why now people are like, Bitcoin is still the big dog, and it still has the most amount of, like, a financial clout. You know, it's still like the price of it's out of control. And two is that it's still the one that's accepted by, like, the majority of people in cryptocurrency. It's kind of like, even when other coins spawn, they compare themselves with Bitcoin. Kind of how, ironically enough, all cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, will indefinitely be compared to actual government-sanctioned fiat currency, right? But there's been multiple reasons why people, and I will say this, there's going to be a future episode where we're going to go through the history and explain what core Bitcoin was, and then go through every single fork of them because it has 1 million children now and has retired to Florida. It's like that levels of nuts. Um, but there's a bunch of reasons why a lot of people are second questioning Bitcoin and why certain coins like Monero and the Polkadot network, Ethereum network, and stuff are growing in scale. And one of those main reasons was that a big hurrah thing about Bitcoin was its decentralization. And this is going to be another interesting test to Polkadot. Because remember, only properly physically debuted in middle of last year in May. So it's still very young. So there's still unknown quantities for this. It still needs to be weathered after a couple of years. Even though, again, I think these are amazing first steps. But a big problem with Bitcoin is that from what we can tell, a lot of never mind that all the transactions are public. So if you're buying like some Russian wife off of a darknet way, everyone knows you've done it and why you did it and who you paid. Because it's a public ledger. That's what Monero tries to solve. But the other thing about it is that apparently a lot of the nodes, Bitcoin has become so popular that a lot of those nodes and transactions and chains are owned and basically governed by the same people that do fiat stuff and major corps and private rich people all over the world. So it becomes the big question is essentially there's basically a 51% policy and finance wise on these chains. What's the point of a decentralized network if most of the network is owned by centralized sources? I would argue, again, that's what happened to the internet. Yay, cool, the internet. Anyone can plug a computer, make it act like a server. You can throw up a web page with a giant image of a dong and put that on there. But what happens when so many corporate entities buy up the internet and merge with each other that essentially the internet is just Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Pornhub, and that's it? Like that's so it like defeats kind of the purpose of that. There's validations in here for Polkadot to get around that, but I would say that while definitely we need the code bases and adaptability to make something decentralized, see the episode about ZeroNet, the next problem that everyone's going to run into is we need policy. We need smart business and we need policy. Those are the two that will always fall apart on anything, not even cryptocurrency, any tech thing. This is the thing that, as Cory Doctorow put in his keynote at the Chaos Computer Congress this year, RC3, the Remote Chaos Computer Congress, this is what the early internet libertarians, despite having good intentions, failed to realize. You know, what's the point of having like, oh, Cowboy, you can spin anything up when DMCA exists? You know, what's the point of having free speech and commerce when Sesta Fosta limits all of it to the point where people on Etsy who are making little like rings you can wear and they have cute little logos on them are getting banned because of something that was supposed to save the children from pornography. And that's the thing that really crypto needs to get into and needs to go up on. Crypto needs to get out of Elon Musk smoking pot, and they need to like put people in the United States government, in the EU Parliament, in the EU Parliament, in various different things to come to consent. And I would also, yes, you could also argue that this would eventually happen in time, but do you want it to happen in the next 15 years or the next 50 years? And time is of the essence. That's going to be the thing with this. So basically my summary is I'm glad Polkadot, especially Polkadot and other things like ZeroNet and stuff, are putting the infrastructure out there and doing this really smartly, and they're trying to avoid the mistakes, not only from early blockchain technologies, like it's not even just new tech, just avoiding design mistakes, but also avoiding mistakes that were made in previous protocols and case uses of the internet. But if we don't have the policy to back them up, it doesn't mean anything. It's like the same thing with I hate to go in this, same thing with the Capitol building. We have laws that say you can't go into the Capitol, but you need to have a permit and be approved and everything. You can't just barge your way in there and everybody break the glass with a fire hydrant and run around in a fucking elk costume. We have laws that are there, but when the police are just going, duh, what's happening? And they're not enforcing it, what's the point of those laws? It's the same thing here where there's going to be no point in a decentralized network. You need a policy with technology to make something work. That's the best summary. So I'm sorry if that sounded long-winded, but thank you, John Juan, for asking that. It's actually a really good question. These are good stepping stones, but it's only a half measure. The other half is, unfortunately, we have to put on suits, be very loud, hold up signs, and demand policy to back up a decentralization. Otherwise, decentralization will never work, or work at a sufficiently decent size scale. That wouldn't also, again, immediately be targeted as being illegal. And this is still positive thing about Polkadot, because so far, really like what I'm seeing. So let's get back into this. So how does the voting happen? Well, there's a thing called the DOT token. And the DOT token serves 3 different points here for governance, staking, and bonding. So governance is basically your DOT token. As what was the thing? Let's go back to the actual white paper, because again, my brain's slowly dying. If you are a fisherman or a collator on this network here, unless you have like council members and the tech committee and stuff like that, which are extremely flexible, basically the DOT token is your vote on that network. In the same way, like you did last year in the United States, cast a ballot, the DOT tokens themselves are a ballot. And it's kind of funny because I know that technically our US ballots not only cost to manufacture, ink, and print and deliver, but our ballots also technically, even though it's illegal, if you were sold the ballot, they'd probably be worth money. But it's kind of weird to think that they were like, okay, we're going to make this token and this is the voting system for it. But Polkadot, as we saw, we could click back to CoinMarketCap's thing, that it's been so that Polkadot's been doing so well so far that the actual vote token is worth roughly $18. So that's just hilarious in my opinion. But yeah, so if you are a token holder, you have complete control over the protocol. All of your privileges on other platforms are exclusive to miners will be given to relay chains participants or DOT holders. And in order to become one of those holders, you stake those votes. And basically, the more you stake, the more votes that you have. You can do votes. There's also, as you saw with the grandpa system, mitigates votes. So from what I understand, you can't like stake a shit ton of votes and essentially stuff the ballot box. Apparently, each thing is one vote, and grandpa backs that up. And also, the DOT tokens can bond. Can also be used as bonding tokens. So basically, outdated or non-useful parachains or those splitter chains will be removed by removing those bond tokens. So the way you actually bolt the parachains to the relay network is also through the DOT tokens. And we're going to go on a page here that goes a little bit more in depth into here. It says DOT token is the native token of the Polkadot network in the same way Bitcoin is the native token to BTC is the native token to Bitcoin, or Ether is to the Ethereum blockchain. We're going to get into some of the more details of that. Funny enough, I love that the smallest unit is called a Planck, because that refers to Planck length, which is a physics thing that I love physics. See how much water we have? See how much brain power I have left under this Tim Fool hoodie? We're not getting into that today. Type in Planck length and go look it up yourself. And by the way, in a moment, I'm going to put a bunch of links in the chat. So as it says, it kind of breaks down here as a Planck, a microdot, a millidot, and then the dot itself. And here it is in decimal places, which is also nice because if I remember correctly, Bitcoin doesn't. It has these, or more like they kind of stapled these on when the chain's worth got out of control, which is why like a Satoshi is still like $1 billion compared to 1 Bitcoin, which is basically like the entire GDP of the United States government at this point. And we're going to get into this moment, but Kusama also has their own split system because Kusama is a power chain that's a test network for the system, but we'll get into that when we get into that. So as I said here, it's used for governance on the network, operations, and to connect one chain to the Polkadot as a power chain. So this says here, the first function of DOT is to entitle holders to control the governance on the platform. It's also used again for consensus voting. And DOT also says DOT may have a locked place on them to account for vesting funds. So that's the way vesting system works. So like the similar types of locks, I feel like we're on an episode of Master of Locking. These funds cannot be transferred, but could be used in other parts of the protocol, such as voting in the governance or being staked as a validator or nominator. Kind of like the way basically vesting's like once all the votes are in and you like all the ballots are in, you literally lock the box so they can be sent to counted. That's basically what vesting is. And so yeah, so Polkadot also has its own token called the Dot, and even though it has a money value, it's actually using in the voting system backed up by Grandpa so that it knows what chains to connect to the network, figure out malicious ones, as well as consensus with adding upgrade features or taking out features or just general community stuff. I hope everyone's got this so far. Again, if anyone has any questions in chat, I'm talking too fast, too slow, you want to shout something out or whatever, ask me in chat. As you saw earlier, I love talking to people in chat, but otherwise keep looking, keep learning. I would say we were almost halfway done through this, even though we haven't run commands yet. New post. Don John Wan said, why was it necessary to Kusama to have monetary value associated with each token as opposed to Ethereum test networks where either on the test network essentially worth this? That's a really good question. I was actually going to bring that up when we got there. I don't know the Polkadot team, and I don't know if they've ever actually answered that question, so I can't give you an answer what to say. My theory about that is, again, I believe they want the points of the test network is essentially to show everyone how it works. So I think that was their way of, as opposed to like usually what a test network does, like the Ethereum test network, as you point out, has tokens, but they're worthless tokens. So it's just, you're playing with Monopoly money, and that's how you figure out bugs. And then when we decide in 11 billion years that, hey, one token actually equals one token because, common sense, then they move it over to the main network, which takes another 3 years for programmers to bang their face against the keyboard to work. I think they wanted to show with Kusama that when you make a power chain, it's not like you're converting a dot to another token, but it's still a dot. Kind of the way how Ethereum, they're all essentially ether tokens, but you kind of just name it something different and things like that to make it work. They wanted to show how a power chain can have its own token system, but completely still connect to the main chain and link together in multiple ways. So it uses one dot and it spins off its Kusama tokens for that. And so that's my theory of why they allowed it to have an actual value. And I'm pretty sure they probably keep a value consistent to it so it doesn't go out of control, to show to people on the test network that when you make a power chain, and also if this is being active live, that would be an example of it, of how the token systems on power chains work in relation to its own dot system as well as everything else on the chain. So that's because I do know that one thing about Ethereum is that unless you go through an exchange like South Exchange or Coinbase, if it's compatible or something, you can't, like if you have a token based on Ethereum, from my understanding, it's not easy to translate that to another token on another chain. One of the things about Polkadot, as we've read, is that it wants to be intercompatible. So again, you can use the tokens on Kusama by itself as its own thing, but then it also can easily translate into DOT, which can translate into everything else, or talk to chains that are near it by going through the relay system. So that's my theory while they do it. Was it the correct thing to do? I think it was I'd make that, if that was the case, that's a cool way to show it off, but I can understand why there would be issues with that. But again, I don't know the DOT developers personally. That's just my take on why they probably made a system like this. Wow, it's 9:26. I feel like it's 1 a.m. in the morning. My brain is not on fire as it was when we were covering the security coins, and I had to go through like legit hardcore math with that, which, by the way, we're going to be covering a specific cryptocurrency coin that has to do blockchain system with its own coin that has to do with programming. So it's still gonna be in our lineup, but I'm dreading that day. I think it's probably gonna either happen in March or April. I would really rather happen in May. I'd really not have it happen at all, but that's going to happen. So just, if you think my brain is dead now or was dead when we covered all the security currencies and I'm doing like actual hash math and stuff like that to explain why this is secure and doesn't break in and stuff, wait till we get to that episode. I'm not going to spoil about what it is, but woof. So, hope that answers your question there as best as I could. I'm going to move on with everything. So, another thing about the DOT tokens, both Polkadot and its test chain, Kusama, as it says, make stake claim that their rewards from past errors by submitting a transaction. So, basically, they have their own simple payout system and about claiming rewards. So that's a whole thing about like how you claim your own DOT tokens by staking it. We're going to go into that in a moment because there's a really crazy cool thing you can do here. Another thing that's also very helpful here, and I'm gonna do test programming in the future with Polkadot. So this is basically our crash course introduction thing. This is not going to be like we're probably going to revisit this when we talk about like frameworks, probably comparing how you make dApps on Ethereum to making them on Polkadot's probably going to be a future episode, because I believe I have that in my notes. But it's also nice though that they have like an entire wiki here, and they have a section of how to build and run the ecosystem and the test chains, what to learn, how shards and each of the stuff works, and how when you have the network running, how to maintain it. We're just going to take quick looks here. So they have their starter guide and stuff. We're going to get into that when we run things. There's also um, JS tools and subkeys and example code in here. And then this is like the whole wiki about like how the entire architecture works right here that we already kind of covered. And what's this down here? Whiteboard series. Oh god, it's 50 minutes long. We're not watching that. The dot token here. Here's one that I've actually wanted to click on, which is the security of the network here. Yep, it's using shared security, otherwise known as pool security. Basically using the value propositions by the voting on the chain network and its own internal grandpa validation system to realize what could actually be malicious or not on here. As I said here, I'm going to actually read this entire paragraph because it's a great example. Notion of shared security is different from interchain protocols that are built on an architecture of bridges. For bridge protocols, each chain is considered sovereign and must maintain its own validator set and economic security. Again, on Ethereum, when you make up, if you have to like truly make your own coin and you fork it, Ethereum's like, good luck, and you're completely on your own. Does not interface back with the original chain. It's annoying. I know that from talking to Ethereum dApp developers and coins based off of Ethereum. And Ethereum uses bridge protocol, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if Ethereum 2.0, we're going to cover an episode. When we get to Ethereum, we're going to cover the difference between original and 2.0. I don't know if they changed that, but the OG Ethereum, when people think of Ethereum, that's what it used. One concern in these protocols is on the point of scalability of security. For example, one suggestion to scale blockchains is that of scaled by altcoins, which already sounds like a bad idea, which suggests that the transaction volumes will filter down to lower market cap altcoins as the bigger ones fill the blocks. Yeah, we have that in fiat currency. It's called trickle down economics. Do you ever get rich off of that? I didn't. I have rich friends that never got rich off of that. Yeah, it is just dumb. A major flaw in this idea is that the lower market cap coins will have less economic security attached and thus easier to attack. A real life example is of a 51% attack occurred on Ethereum Classic on January 10, which an unknown attacker double spent, which we covered in our security episode, what that means. 2,000-ish ethers. This was followed by two more 51% attack, which affected the rest of the chain, and that's what they're trying to avoid here with the security by doing shared security as opposed to bridging security. So that's that whole thing there. Wow, just thinking about that, I can't wait now to get to the Ethereum episode, because that should be coming up in like an episode, like 2 to 3 episodes from now, because that made my brain hurt. But let's go back to the main page. And again, if you have a node running and you want to learn how to set up a node and maintain it, we're not going to do that today because this episode would be twice as long, including setting up, setting up a secure WebSocket for remote connections using, I always mispronounce this, Nginx. That's how, Nginx? That almost sounds like a certain bad swear word. But yeah, that's another section of the wiki here, so that's pretty neat. Although I do kind of question about what they mean by, there is an edit button. I think you have to like, yeah, so it's basically a mirror. That's what I thought. It's a mirror of GitHub, because GitHub, you can actually make wikis for all of your code repositories, so you can edit it, but you'd have to go through GitHub. It's not like an actual own hosted wiki, but it's still a helpful resource here. So let's continue on. Okay, we're gonna get into this point here. So we're about to get into code. Let me just look at this here. Aha, I know where we're going with this. So before we get into the coding stuff, I just want to go over some quick last things about Polkadot here, right? And actually, if you can give me 1 second, I just want to double check something on this page just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Okay. So when you build on Polkadot, there's another thing that's really important to know about Polkadot, and I wish we can get into more of this. We're going, let's see, yep, is that it's built on something called Substrate. Now, that is not, are you okay in there? Sorry, our co-founder here was like groaning really bad, and I thought maybe he got out of his coffin and came back to life. But no, Substrate is not a straight person that subs for a dominatrix. Substrate is an entire framework engine that actually builds the blockchain, or aka the relay chain, and is also the framework for the general power chains in Polkadot. And it's one of the direct things that connects to Polkadot here. It has a bunch of features such as cross-language support with WebAssembly, so you can basically use, again, this is a framework, you can use almost any language that you want in this. It also has its own light client built in from day one. You can make upgrades without having to you don't have to fork something and then push. You can just work on something and then submit it to Substrate, and then everyone votes on it. If it's a good idea, it's implemented in, so you don't have to do like crazy Git stuff going on. And it's also designed with coordination in mind. And it also has seamlessly integration properties. So let's see. Ooh, this is neat. There is a playground for this. We're gonna come back to this in a moment because I really want to do command line stuff. What are people messaging me about? My pocket, the side pocket, has been vibrating like crazy. No comment. So I just want to just let people, okay, leave me alone. There we go. That will shut him up. So we're going to get into more of what Substrate is because I want to get into like command line stuff just to get the annoying stuff out of the way. But I kind of just wanted to show that that's one of the things that's that it's based on here, as well as like here's like all the crazy architecture of this where you can do peer-to-peer networking, and here's the main storage, and it uses Wasm as its runtime environment. It's telemetry, it's its own separate thing. And you can go through this here. In fact, this will be the first link if you really want to go into like a deep dive into Substrate and how it works. I'm going to post it in chat here. There we go. That's the official docs for the page. I docs myself. And I'm going to go ahead right now and let everyone know that I tried to do this on here. If we have time, I might try to run it through here with Rust. But again, I want to go through command lines first. So I wasn't originally going to do this through the Substrate itself through a command line. It was just going to be Polkadot. But let's, I'd rather do all the command line stuff, shut up, with Polkadot first. So speaking of which, let's see if we can, let me just see something here. Oh, okay, I know what that is. Let's get into that. All right, so we're going to switch out here. We're going to turn off the browser. And we are going to bring up the terminal. Now, here's the key. I believe I have already in advance. Normally, by the way, here's what we do on the show. We normally, despite the show is basically Tempting the Demo Gods of the Show, which is the sister to the other Tempting Demo Gods of the Show, which is, actually, okay, so we have three Tempting Demo Gods of the Show. We have my show, co-founder G.I. Jack's show, Archfile Linux Perspective, because Arch, and the ultimate tempting the demo gods and being struck down by their farts, Hackle and Commander, currently every other Wednesday, so probably next Wednesday, or maybe the first Wednesday. In fact, I have to ask him, but he usually has a show about that where he does crazy hacks, like literally legit crazy shit. I try not to tempt, here comes the new instant reward, I try not to tempt the demo gods too much, and the way we've gotten around that in the past is that normally I install everything beforehand and then just run stuff, whether it's through the command line, the wallets, or whatever. Just because of this episode, I'm going out of my normal thing here, and I'm going to actually run the commands in here. So that way I'm just going to do Two things here, and then I'm going to read the chat in a moment because I did see your question, your response and or question there, but I just want to get this out of the way quickly. 2 reasons why we don't normally tempt the demo gods on the show. Actually, 3. 1, bandwidth issues, both in terms of now. Well, I'm on a PC gaming computer. It has a lot of power in it. It's actually, I think, the most powerful laptop we have here. But CPU issues are always the thing. Again, New York Times front page and Chrome. Ah, and also just the bandwidth from running the show. As you probably saw with the previous Arch Linux perspective, and this is not his fault. Again, this is just how computers work. When he was doing repo push, if I remember, it was repo push updates. The commands he was using just grabbed all the bandwidth, which is why his stream kept dipping in and out. We've had this on this show too. We had that ironically through DM's website near the end when we covered DM last time. So that's one thing. The second thing is that, like when we covered Libra originally, sometimes this stuff takes really long, which is that we literally had one episode where I thought the install would happen in a minute. We literally were installing for like 40 minutes, and I decided to end the stream, which is why I'm so glad I tried to do that at the end. Hopefully, this won't be in this case this time. But the last thing that we normally don't do this is because I don't mind running into some errors. I mean, last time we got pretty far and we went through a bug that was in DM and we couldn't move any further, but that was fine. But if we like are constantly hitting the wall and we can't even get past the first step, you know, it's I don't even care about looking like an idiot, but it's going to waste all of your time. So anyhow, just for you Polkadot fans out there and people who are interested, we are actually going to do the installation for this. And so I have our Ubuntu client up here, and we're gonna do all of this stuff. So I believe these are 2 separate things. So the first thing here, because you know, this is the part that drives everyone crazy, is we are going to do key validation, so we need to import keys. We'll wait a couple of seconds for that. Now, these should be 2 individual things here. That sailed. Okay. Let's try them both together here, see if that does anything. Because I don't mind copy pasting this simply because because what server in it. All right, so apparently, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Did I just do the thing? I may have done the thing. Let me just look at some of the other stuff here. Yeah, I probably did the thing. Hang on. I've literally seen coding wizards and they run into this problem. Let's try this. See, the other thing is I often, particularly on this machine, I switch between. There we go. I switch between the Kali sub instance on here and our Ubuntu one. I usually use the Ubuntu for dev stuff and Kali for if we actually do like minor penetrative testing stuff. Wink, wink. And I keep forgetting that the subspace on Kali defaults to root and the Ubuntu one doesn't. So I have to actually sudo make me a sandwich. And I forget that sometimes. So now I know, and hopefully that will be the only issue that I have. Okay, so there was already a... so there was a permission denied from that image. Let's see. I just want to try it one more time and just make sure that I didn't, like, copy something, like, bad here. If not, we're going to continue. Okay. We're going to it's probably because of the way the subsystem is best set up, because I don't believe we don't have these like core bins in the subsystem. I will say this. So for what we're going to do in the meantime, and here we go, quick flash open, quick flash close. What we're going to do is we already have the receive keys in here. We are going to do this the best that we possibly can. We also have some alternative ways to install this. Absolute worst comes to worst, right? Truly worst comes to worst, I will actually load up a Ubuntu VM, and we'll try to do it on there because I'll have the proper folders. But we're going to continue on like this. So again, this is the unknown. Like we already went through this. Like it took 2 hours just to explain stuff, and we have a little bit more to explain with Polkadot. This is the part that usually takes forever. This is the part that's either really short or really long, because depending on all the errors I run into. So we're going to attempt to sign. So that didn't work. So we're just going to keep going on ahead with these commands and pray. We're going to do lots and lots of praying here. All right, so we're just gonna we're gonna do our sudo. We're just gonna update right now, just to be on the safe side of everything. So that's going down. Yep, everything's up to date. And so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to. Oh wait a minute, did I do it again last time? Yeah, that's probably why it didn't work. Hold on. I am the dumb. Again, I've been using Kali for the past week. Okay, so it's still denied, so that's fine. All right, so I'm just going to prep that by typing in sudo. And so cross your fingers. It's probably not going to work because the previous things. And then we're going to try the last thing and see if it works. If not, we're going to do method install number B. I almost said meth install. We're going to do ATP install parity keyring and hope this works. Yeah, I wasn't able to read it. So we're going to try this thing. It might not read because of, keys, and we're going to echo the statement that GI Jack does, which is that, GPG and PGP worked for like roughly a year, and now, get rid of it. Hate it. So, particularly when it comes to command line stuff. So we're just going to do the install and see if this installs. If it doesn't, we're going to do method number 2. I wasn't able to locate it. Okay, so we're going to have to do method number 2 here. Method number 2, if you remember the DM, we had to do this whole setup where we were using cargo. Now, the last thing I don't want to do here is to install from source, which will be the absolute last thing that we ever want to do on this. So I'm actually going to try using cargo, which is a whole package installation system for Unix systems. And we're going to try to install this. We're going to do cargo install, and then I'm going to directly copy the git with the URL pathway and all the stuff in here. And we're going to cross our fingers. And wait a minute. I think you don't need sudo for. You know what? I'm just going to fuck it, just as a precaution. All right, now that that's all in there, I imagine if N Commander's watching this right now, he's cringing hard. We're going to try this, and if not, we're going to actually build this from source, and I'm going to cry. Message file. I'm just going to do the flat version here. That's not sudo, and see if that works. Oh, hold on, I see why. Wait a minute. I think I know what's off here. Hold on, let's scroll up. I have to go to, where are you? Issues, pull requests, projects. Let me just check something here. Okay. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. My problem is that I can't remember or find. I'm trying to figure out what version it actually is. And that's where my current hell is right now, because I am trying to find on the page what the current version of this is. Here we go. All right, I think I have it here. Give me a moment. Want to look at something real quick. Okay, so that's the ASIC. All right, so we should just be able to do this like straight through. All right, so we're going to try these commands again. Give me one moment here. I'm going to open up a trusty notepad to do some editing. This is stuff that you can't see here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy the full command over. I'm doing some skid shit right here. Now, I believe it's just the numbers. So we're going to try this. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to sudo it in. All right, let's see if this runs now. Error. Failed to find tag. Cause reference not found at that tag. Okay, so it doesn't know. Okay, I'm just curious just to make sure if I'm typing this in correctly. This is the fun part of the show where we get to figure out what's what. Okay, so that's the thing about this here is that there are only, let's just see, only one release. And we have, by the way, just in case anyone asks, we have the current version of Rust, so this is not Rust's fault. As far as I know, because Rust is not exactly my favorite programming language. I don't hate it, but it's far from it. That's why I endlessly make jokes about Rust. So I'm just going to make one tiny altercation just in case it got confused. And we're going to try this. There we go. That's okay. You actually needed the V in the version number. That's all it was. So they actually included the V in the actual reference number category. So right now we cargo, as we did on last episode with DM, is fetching it and is going to build all of that right now. And cross your fingers that that's going to work. Depending in a couple of seconds how long it's going to go, I might take a quick break, and because I have to recharge this water. In fact, I'm going to do that in a moment. And we are going to continue on. And again, anytime these installs take way too long, I will always put some form of music on while this goes on. So stick around. I know this might be a little boring, but it's currently installing. And then when everything's kind of done, we're going to come back and continue to go through this. We're going to try to connect to the test network and hope the stream doesn't die on anything. So just enjoy the music while you watch the terminal do crazy stuff. I'll be right back. Going to recharge my water, pee, cry in the corner because we're dealing with Rust and command line stuff. So, oh, wait a minute. We might not have to do that yet. I mean, I'm still going to get the water at some point, but let's see, because it's now fetching the repository. Let's see how fast everything else goes on here. Okay, so the checkout usually is really fast. Create the index. I'm debating if I should, Hey, what? Thinking. Okay, even if it's for a couple of seconds, we're still going to do the break. So I'll be right back. Just watch the command line, even if it's just for 2 seconds. Enjoy the music. Where's the EDM? Watch I do this and it's going to be done.
You will see just how perfect I
back to play!
Thank you, Robbie. That is Twitch. As soon as this is done building, we will get back to our normally regularly scheduled program. So stay tuned. I'm shocked all of you are still watching this, but we'll be back shortly. Just enjoy the tunes and all the commands.
Another night on crowded streets. Too many people and machines. So suffocating, hard to breathe. On the run from memories.
time to play!
Thank you, Zappy057 for following us on Twitch. As we let everyone know, just what we were saying, it was stuck on this one runtime. We're gonna give each runtime about 5 or so minutes, and if it's not moving, we will continue on. Otherwise, whether it finishes compiling or it gets stuck for more than 5 minutes, we will continue on with the episode. So just stay tuned. 5 more minutes. just tuning in now, just want to reiterate that it seems to be stuck on the process. We are so close. It is literally 3 processes away from being done building. We're going to give it 8 minutes. If it doesn't move on until 8 minutes, we will just continue the episode. We don't have that much to cover. If it actually finishes building, we will go straight into it. So otherwise, just give it at least 8 minutes and stay tuned. Thank you, John1, for following us on Twitch. Gives us roughly 5 more minutes, and if nothing happens, we will just continue on with the episode. Thank you for your patience. And after 8 million billion years, as they said in the Matrix Revolutions, it is done. And that's exactly why normally we build and compile cryptocurrency stuff before we air the show, because sometimes even if if the terminal's the only thing running, that's the only. And remember, we're on a high-powered machine. I feel like I can like cook an egg off of this. And this is like a high-powered advanced CPU GPU gaming machine. Now imagine what like your average ThinkPad is like on this. And it took like what, like over half an hour, like 40 minutes or so. That's exactly what's going on. And yes, we use Pretzel as our music because it's open source DMCA free, CMCA compliant, I should say, music, meaning no one bans us or gets sued by using it. And what we like about it, since it interfaces directly with Twitch, it posts directly in our chat what the songs are, so you can actually click on those links or copy paste those into YouTube or whatever and find new crazy bands and songs that you like. I know we often do on here. So that all just happened. We can like scroll through. This is like 8 million years of my life. That was all the cargo builds. Let's type and get it back into play here. So here's going to be part 2. Now, this is going to be the annoying part, and then we're going to get into everything. Now, since now we have everything loaded on here via cargo, we should be able to connect to one of the networks. So here's a question for chat. Should we, let me just test something here. Should we connect to the mainnet just to see if everything works? Should we connect to the Kusanmama net, which is the Canary network or official test net for Polkadot? Or should we connect to the West End test net, which is another power fork on this multi-chain system? So I'll give it a minute or two in chat, just to ask anyone, and if not, we'll just basically pick one and we'll go forward with it. Again, sorry for all that time. That's why we normally preload things. I'm actually debating about trying to do the Kurosama net separately at the end of this episode, and if that takes more literally than 2 minutes, then I'm just going to forget it and let that run in the background while we do the finish up stuff. But if you did like that kind of cool like techno party music thing while watching a compiler go down, it's more cyberpunk than Cyberpunk 2077, as well as if you like anything that you saw on the show here, or you're excited about other shows or our upcoming meetup on February 19th, you can hit that bell, like, share, follow, and subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. We're also on Facebook and PeerTube, and you can also watch us through YouTube via Nvidius on Tor, which is the elite, super, ultra invisible hacker way to access and live stream this show. It really helps us get the word out there. It also gives you updates from when we do stuff, and when you do that, as well as if you send bits on Twitch, lemons on DLives, or super chat on Facebook. I don't even know what they do on Facebook. Super chats on YouTube. I have no idea what they do on Facebook or DLive. We do get alerts for them, as you probably saw during that stream and cheering people on. So thank you for that. Also, like what we said before, if you have any questions about anything we said, or you want to shout something that's not dickish, or if I'm talking too fast, too slow, you have a hard time hearing me, I'm actually going to raise the microphone a bit just so that you can hear me better. Let us know in chat. Let me know in chat. I love talking to chat as we did before. Otherwise, keep lurking, keep learning. And to kind of roll back before, I'm actually going to quickly switch back to the browser just to answer this question while I'm still leaving the question up of like, hey, which testnet should we go for? Again, the vote is the Polkadot mainnet because that's what we're covering on this episode is Polkadot and its whole background system. It's designed to replace Ethereum. So we either do that, we can connect to the Kurosama Canary Network, which is the official Canary Network for Polkadot. It's its own power chain because it's a multi-chain system, or we can connect to the West End testnet. But I do want to bring up something here, and there's the question of which user said this. It's actually a very good question. Don John Juan on Twitch asked, what was the difference between what we were currently what Cargo was currently trying to build versus the link that he sent. And I'm going to quickly switch over to browser to show you all what I mean here. And it's this thing. So the difference here, to reiterate what we've been doing, let's get the full screen, is we have been trying to basically install and compile and build the main, like the all the backend client, the network interface, everything for Polkadot itself. So it has the wallets, what the chain is, where to locate the chain, the block system, the different network types, how to network interface with the different chains, etc. What the link what he sent, which was here, is this is Substrate, and we covered this before because it's been a while, so we do that. And Substrate is what, let's get rid of that, is what is the background system, or like the core system of what the chain itself is actually built on, and it has smart contracting and cross support, light client friendly, and all this stuff in here. And while we could make a power chain and then connect it to Polkadot, what we were actually doing was doing main Polkadot itself. I am looking into, because I want to talk about basically like advanced ways of building a blockchain. Basically, on our first episode, CryptoBarons, we actually built an entire blockchain with JavaScript. We also made a test example using a Python example for a GUI interface. I want to go back to that JavaScript one and do even more, and then go into Substrate itself and setting that all up and doing the test network and everything and building a chain and node that way. That's not what we're doing. We're not building our own node that will connect to Polkadot. This was Polkadot itself. So that was a good question. Sorry, because I'm terrible at names right now. That was a good question, Don John Juan. And I just wanted to clarify that again in chat. So everyone says Kurosama. So it's funny because I was debating about going into. I keep almost trying to say Kurosawa, but that's not it. Or is it Kusama? Sorry, I'm an American. I don't know how to pronounce things. Kusama. Also, one of the reasons why we're gonna wrap up this episode in probably the next like 10, max 20 minutes, because I'm really hungry. I will say that probably at between 11 and 11:20 for all of anyone who's on DLive, that's when I'm going to do the lemons. It got pushed back a bit because how long I've had build. I do have food, and I'm really hungry. And here comes the new Incent reward coming up. So if you're on get.incent, I think .com or .net, you can get the app for it. You can either type in the little code that we have or scan the barcode. You get free cryptocurrency. We're not sponsored by them. I think it's just a cool way to reward you folks, as what we saw with the long compiling, for putting up with all of us. But everyone's saying Kusama. So is it me or there's a 5-minute delay? It might be just a general lag delay because we're using Restream, and all of that really impacts everything that we're doing. So like I know when we look at, I actually can load it up here. When I usually have YouTube running on the big TV. What you guys can't see is there is a TV next to me that has a mirror of the stream, and there's usually somewhere between half a second to 8 seconds of lag. So it just might be because of that, but otherwise, if you wait a bit, chat should still be working. Everything, I can always reload it if it freezes or something like that. But so far, I'm actually going to send out a test message. It's working. So everyone says we should connect to the Canary Network, Kusama. I might try to connect to the main one some other time. But yep, everything's working. So We're going to switch back to terminal. And let's get rid of the browser here. And we will, I like pleasing the audience, so we're going to connect to the canary message here. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to do like the proper way here, just because I want to do it correctly the first time. So as we learned from last time, we're going to sudo this, and we are going to go to, hang on, where did I put it? Here we go. So we're going to go to, we're going to go in our target folder. Just want to double check here. Release, R-E-L-E-A-S-E, Polkadot. Sorry, not Polkadot, Polkadot. And then we're going to connect to the chain Kusama. Yeah, I see the lag, what you're talking about. If you guys want, you know what I can do real quick? Hang on a moment. Yeah, I see what you mean. All right, just for the sake of everything, I'm just going to restart the chat. So all the stuff that's displayed currently on the stream will clear out. And hopefully that might solve at least a little bit of the lag problem. So that's the beginning one here. So now I'm going to type in test. And hopefully everything now shows up immediately on everyone's end. If not, then that's just the natural delay from me to you. So I apologize for that. But yeah, let's get back into connecting to this. So let's see what we have here. So we have sudo. We're going to do a target release, the core Polkadot, and we're going to connect to Kusa. Oh, sorry. That should not be a dash. That should be an equal because we're pointing to the chain. So the chain Kusama. And then just so we can identify it, we're also going to add in a name. And our name, we will do DC201. Yeah, underscore, fine. So cross your fingers, this should properly connect now that we have everything. And of course, it's been so long that I have to actually put our password in. Okay, so that's not, let's keep testing stuff. So sudo, instead of adding the my name, let's just put in, let's just connect by default. So let's see, so that was not found. Let's see, trying to figure out why is there not working here. Okay. As usual on CryptoBarons, we spent like 8 billion years installing something that then for some reason it's not working. Let's see what's going on here. So let's see. Just to make sure that I'm not going absolute crazy, let's I'm just going to try the command for the main network just to see. Okay, so there's no stop. Okay, so sudo. Why is that not working? That's odd. Let me just roll up, make sure I'm not missing anything in particular. Okay, just give me one moment here. Let's see. I'm just reading about building from source just to make sure I haven't had like a thing going on. So I know I have the current version of Rust and I didn't update. So let's see. Let's see. Build swap. Yeah, it should be. We should be able to connect directly to this thing. Oh, hold on. If we use, okay, just I want to try one experiment. If that doesn't work, I want to do a different one here because I keep forgetting. We built this in cargo, right? So I just want to try something. So sudo cargo. Okay, so that didn't work. Let's see. I just want to make sure everything works, and we're just going to test everything. So we're going to do sudo cargo test all. So I just want to scroll up just to make sure that I got just want to make sure I typed in everything fine. So Okay, so that actually was probably the thing there. So actually, before we even do that, I keep forgetting that we don't actually need sudo, I believe, for cargo. So let's just try it like this and see if this works. Okay, so there was no such command. So now I'm just going to completely test it and do cargo test, and we're just going to do all of them. Cannot, okay, here we go. Cannot find. Ah, God, I hate this. Okay, if I am correct with what's going on, this drives me crazy because otherwise this would truly take forever. I don't know if this is unique to Ubuntu or if this actually, I'm going to try after the stream to see if we can work with this with Kali. And what I believe is going on, as it said in that error, it couldn't find the toml file in the home directory for this because remember, we're using a Ubuntu subsystem. We're not directly running Ubuntu itself, meaning that if there's any specific thing where you're trying to find like certain folders, uh, that's not really going to work on here. Now, I did have a similar issue with this before where, and again, this is why we normally test run stuff, so we might have to revisit this later on in a future episode. Maybe even the beginning of the next week's episode. Sorry, next week. No, next week I would die. Next Crypto Barons episode, which I will remind again, but that should be on February 13th. I'll set everything up beforehand and we'll try running this again. It might work with Kali because the way they do Kali and subs and sort of the sub OS stuff is really weird. So like I had this issue actually with believe DM before where in the Ubuntu subsystem it didn't work, but in the Kali subsystem it worked no problem. And again, normally I would just boot up Kali and we would run through that just to find out, but you saw how long that took to put together. I'm not going to put you all through that again. So I believe what's happening is that it cannot find the actual subfile here because let's see, we can actually try something here. So let's see. Just want to try this command, see if this works. This is Polkadot. We're going to just see if we can spring up a dev network. Yeah, it doesn't know what it is. Let's try it with sudo. Oh, I typed it wrong. I'm an idiot. Okay, so that part. Oh wow. Okay, that was funny. Whoa, holy crap, that was hilarious. Okay, so you can run up the nodes, and hopefully that didn't. I just want to double check. Nope, the stream's still running. Cargo bin Polkadot. Yeah, see, good point there. Yeah, home def. But see, yeah, that's the problem. See that dot cargo. Unfortunately, from what I understand, with subsystems, that will not exist. that like if you try to do dot anything, basically hidden folder directories, it just confuses Ubuntu subsystem. Might work on Kali, but again, if I knew about this beforehand, I would have ran this through the Kali subsystem, or worse comes to worse, a VM. What we've also learned tonight here is this is the exact reason, in addition to how long sometimes things compile and also running into weird errors like this, like I pointed out with DM where we did things beforehand, this is normally why we run everything, we preload everything first, because I would love to show like the installation, play some music, do some hacking and stuff. But because we run into walls like this, particularly when it comes to cryptocurrency, that's why we preload everything. So probably what I might do is I'll do some experiments off stream, and at the beginning of the next episode, I will know what were the mistakes are. I'll go over those mistakes, and then I'll show everything running the best that it can. Credit card. Oh, good point. Let's see here. Need to create a cargo project. Right. So hold on. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this a quick and dirty way and cross your fingers. Let's bring this back up again. Okay. So we're gonna thank you, chat. We're gonna try your advice here. And we're just gonna see, because again, it could be right, could be wrong. I've had weirder. There's been things where like I've done Surefire pseudo ATP things, and then they just fail on stream. So we're gonna try this. Yeah, we're gonna try this. Don John Juan. So let's try creating the new project. The argument bin, which wasn't expected. Do you mean? Okay, so let's swap this. See if it runs. Hopefully we won't crash this thing. All right, so we've done that. And there is a lag on the chat for some reason. It might just be because we're doing like all this test network stuff. But let's find out here. So actually I'm going to use, we said we wanted to actually, again, we're going to look at Kusama in a moment. So I'm just legit going to try the main test network. We're just going to try these commands again. If that doesn't work, we'll try to cargo connect to them all. I just want to see what works and doesn't work. Okay. So what we're going to, and then one last time, just to make sure I'm not a crazy person. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to test all of them at the same goddamn time. So again, we're going to do cargo test all. And now we'll see if this runs. See, it couldn't find it again. So unless someone has any other ideas, my theory, because I've run into this problem before, is anything that's a hidden folder, or if you're unfamiliar with Linux, it's a dot whatever, for some reason does not work in Ubuntu subspace. Sometimes it works in the Kali Linux one. And then that's how I usually pre-test this. I try to run it in the Ubuntu subsystem. If it doesn't run that, I load up the Kali one, because for some reason, sometimes it just works in Kali, which is a variant of Debian, or Debian, however you pronounce it. It's like tomato. And then worst comes to worst, I attempt to run it in a VM, which is honestly the worst, because you notice how CPU intensive that was? On a VM, it usually crashes the VMs, unless I do some like crazy VM setting stuff behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do this is that sorry to waste everyone's time with the build part, but we tried. What I could actually do is I might actually just spin running this in the background on Kali just to see if it takes the same amount of time. It probably does. If it doesn't, then we will jump back to it because we're near the end. But yeah, otherwise, we're gonna continue on. And actually, now that we know we can run, at least we got it running enough where we can spin up an actual what do you call it? An actual single node dev network. I want to try something here, and this should be really funny. First of all, I'm going to see if I can do this. Okay, cool. So I brought up two different windows here. Now this is going to be highly amusing. What we're going to do is we're going to run a 2-node testnet that are going. It's going to be two of the multi-nodes, or basically two parallel nodes on the testnet that are going to run concurrent to each other. So we're going to attempt to do this. So here we go here. So I'm going to type in this first one here. First of all, I'm going to clear. And we're going to, because this is a weird Windows particular thing with that. So we're going to run our old friends Alice and Bob. This first one I'm going to type in. The second one I'm going to copy pasta due to multiple reasons. So we're going to try Polkadot. And we're going to tell the chain to connect to Polkadot local. And this might not work because we might have the similar error as above. But let's try this. Alice. And we're going to give it the D, as Alice likes it. And we're going to look in our temp folder. That will hopefully be there. And then Alice. And let's cross our fingers. I'm expecting an error, but let's try this. Oh, wow. It tried to recommend another thing. All right, just absolutely make sure, because I'm using my notes here. I'm literally going to copy pasta my note in and see if we get the same thing. Otherwise, I'll sudo it. Okay. Oh, neat. There's some sort of a bug output here. Let's see what just happened. So it connected. It started the authentic shit. It was running. Everything was connecting. We encountered a bug. What's with all the Japanese stuff? Tokyo runtime worker panicked at the unwrap call or at the value. Yeah, the .cargo is screwing this over. That's what's happening. So because of the way Ubuntu subsystem works, I just read this here. Let's see. Need to navigate inside the project which you just created. Okay. Navigate to it. All right. So if we're gonna navigate to it, we'll try this. Okay. I like this. This is the hacking part of the show. And regardless, I promise that at like at 11:20 or maybe a little bit earlier, we will go to the other stuff and do the lemons. So let's see here. So we're gonna CD. We're gonna try this individually. So actually, let's see where we are. Okay, so we're gonna CD. Let's just try it in cargo. See if anything comes up. Okay, so we're actually in there. CD bit, and let's just see what's in here. Okay, so I'm gonna CD into bin. I call it CD. I don't care what you guys think. LS, all right, and then we're going to CD our way into Polkadot itself. Huh? What just happened? So, oh, we might. Oh, let's see. It's not a directory. I see here. And none of these are coming up as okay. So we might be able to run it from here because I might be stupid. Let me try something. Okay, so let's try. Let's go back because this might be a stupid moment. Because remember, I'm not the best computer person / hacker / whatever you want to call me. But you know, I look pretty and I do some things. Let's now actually try that previous command again. I'm gonna cover the Kusama in a bit. I just want to try the previous commands now that we're in the correct folder and see if they actually work. Otherwise, I'll try the Alice command. I just want to see what happens. I mean, I just also realized something stupidly myself. Hold on. Let's do some edits in here. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I just also realized something else, too. Okay. All right. I just want to backtrack and try something different here. All right. So now we're at the back base thing, right? All right. So we're going to CD into... Let's see if I can get in here. Haha. That's a thing right there. So let's do this again. Let's go back into... Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're back in here. Let's see the list of stuff. Pebcat Polkadot. Yeah, no, I type in typos all the time. Like even like common commands, I just that on. All right, so let's try the Alice thing again and just see what happens in here. Because now I'm just really curious about everything. Give me one moment. Actually, I'm just going to take a moment to hydrate. And again, if you like this, me banging my head against literally the computer keyboard and stuff, please hit that bell, like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook and PeerTube and watch us through YouTube via Nvidia's through the Tor browser. So awesome, Leap people. If you do, or if you send us bits, lemons, which we're going to share in a couple of minutes with the rest of you who are on DLive, if you're on DLive, and super chats, we get notifications for all those, and I like cheering people out. So let's try this two-chain thing here, and now we know where everything is. So let's see if we get the same error. Same bug. Same bug just happened. Trying to think here, because when we just ran a single node, everything worked. And again, I think the dot whatever is probably killing everything, because let's look into this one last time here. I just want to see what's in here again. Yeah, now these are folders, so we're gonna CD out of this, and I'm just gonna, because I'm a lamer like this. Yeah, we have a bin, a git, and a registry, and none of these are in. Let's see here. You know, or I just realized we can do this. Here's an idea. Just wanted to see if there was hidden or not. Nope. So I'm actually wondering. So I do still think the dot folders are throwing everything off, unless someone else has any other ideas. The other thing that it could be is that I might get better results if I attempt to build from source, but you saw how long the cargo build was. Now imagining building that from source. I mean, you use cargo to some degree to build all of that, but I would absolutely just go freaking insane. And you saw how long that whole thing took again. So, let's see. Because it just did all of that. So yeah, I hate to do this to everyone, but we gave it a college try, unless anyone has any other ideas in chat. But I'm going to do the rest of the explanation and move on, because I am hungry, and I want to also raid other people's channels on Twitch and give everyone lemons and stuff. And, you know, this is partly, by the way, why we do Crypto Barons, because when you do whether you're doing computer programming or developing an operating system or trying to pick locks or whatever, this is in all those tutorial videos, this is the stuff they edit out. This is the unglamorous side. This is what actual, like, hacking or development actually looks like. So, you know, sometimes there's things, and again, a lot of times one of the reasons why I also try to install and test this stuff beforehand is it's nothing to be like, aha, I want to look professional. It's also more of that I also don't know how much of this uses bandwidth from the streaming stuff that we do, and a lot of times we'll try to install stuff and it gets stuck, and as soon as I've stopped streaming, when I do that, it loads in 2 seconds. So that's also another thing on there. So what I'm going to do later on is I'm going to build on source on Kali after the stream, see if it works. If it does work, then I'll take a chunk of time out of the beginning of the next Crypto Barons episodes, which would be on February 13th. Thank God it's not Friday the 13th. And we'll cover a bit of that, and then we're going to go directly into the other programming stuff we're going to do, which honestly I think is going to be really fun. So without further ado, we're going to move on from this. We might do a little bit of more coding in a moment, but like we might run something, and then if it just doesn't work, then I'm just going to be gone thought and like nerf everything back to hell. So just letting everyone know about that. So let me just get to the tab here, because we have a couple of minor things to talk about with Polkadot, and then I mean, everyone could throw bricks at me if I did a bad job, but I think we did like a decent job of covering, because there's a lot of stuff of what a lot of this is. So when we were all voting before, we were voting for which network to connect to, and one of them is Kusama, which now I'm glad I can pronounce. This little bird here, code burb. And as it says, it's an early, unaudited, and unrefined release of Polkadot. And it's basically the test net that was launched before they went live, if I remember correctly, in May. And they still keep it up to kind of show like the multi-chain property of everything. And you can apparently also join a cyber secret society here, which is the membership club for the sub-state people. So, ha ha ha, secret society, my ass. And I just want to look at the get started, because there's kind of a really cool thing about how you would actually get how you could get started here. So let's see. So there's the let's see. We have the Kusama overview page right here. So you could explore the politics and do the voting stuff on here. You could set up validators. You could deploy parachains on here. That secret society bullshit thing, and just basically test the network out. And then it's open to everyone on here. And what's so unique about this which honestly I don't understand why Polkadot doesn't have this yet. But you can create a Kusama account, and the whole thing, and this is where I get to unfull screen this, and we're actually going to switch to display capture because otherwise it won't show up here. So it's going to look really, really weird for a couple of seconds. Watch this. Ah! That was that. So up here is a Polkadot.js extension. We're going to get into Polkadot.js in a moment, yes, because JavaScript infects everything. But yeah, I did this earlier, and this is sort of like we have our own account here. And there's an actual extension. You can get it for Chrome or for Firefox that will load that in. And there's like options in here. We're in dark mode, which I like, and we could connect to all these different. We could change the display addresses for all these different networks that the whole thing. This actually really shows you how many networks this is connected to, as well as like the English and stuff. And you could generate QR codes and stuff from here. So that's kind of really neat. And apparently we could also install subkeys on the command line on this. Which, I mean, we could do that, but again, I would start, let's see. Yeah, we would have to modify. Let me get, actually, that would be kind of interesting. So let's actually, we're going to switch out of display capture and not freak you out. And I'm actually going to try this, okay? So we're gonna try all of this right now, and worst comes to worst, I will just blast. Oop, I just took my video off by accident. Otherwise, we'll just blast this into oblivion. So let's see here. So we have the proper dependencies and stuff. Let's try something I absolutely hate. I'm just gonna try this. I probably need to add sudo in front of this, but let's just see if there's any updates for everything. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually takes, like, if this is actually fast. Wouldn't also surprise me if this was all crazy and it took forever. But I just wanted to try this just to see what's up. Because just like the name of Rust, usually Rust takes forever on things. It's literally just like dragging two pieces of rusty metal over stuff. Let's see. Is it going to get stuck on updating all the docs for this? Let's find out. Just because I want to see if you can actually add a subkey on this. Okay, so it's actually progressing here. Let's see how many. 14 millibits. Yep, that just loaded. Isn't this exciting? Let's see. Are you gonna be confused? It's always the document stuff where it's confused. Now, my favorite part, which is where Rust installs itself as an STD. I am not making that up. That there's a component of Rust that's called STD. I can't think of a better analogy for Rust than the fact that it literally loads an STD onto your system. You know, sometimes just the comedy writes itself. So we're only going to spend like a minute or like 2 or 3 minutes on this. If it is too slow, I'll just have this up. Okay, I've just finished that processes. All right, so now we're just going to do the tool chain. Okay, so that was up to date. Now we're going to do the fun part. And now we're just going to make sure everything's updated for stable. And now we're going to do the WSAM part, which is always great. It's going to build, do all of those indexes. This should honestly go decently fast. And then I'm going to see if through Cargo we can actually build a subkey on this. If not, at least we tried. The weird other way to do this, by the way, is you can also build substrate, which I'm not going to do because, again, it's going to take a billion years. I'd rather do that off camera. And then there's like a command that you can do inside the substrate that will build a subkey. And then you have to direct it to the subkey. You have to target it. You have to put it to the subkey section, which is under the debug section in the target folder. All right, so now that we got all of, so I just want to make sure okay, so now that we got all that, now all that's done, let's see if we can actually do all of this. So, yep. So we're going to install the substrate subkey here, right into the subkey directory, and this should actually download and build to all of that. And this should do it pretty fast. Like I said, there's only X amount of crates here. Okay, so there were some crates that didn't match any of the packages, so just skipped over them. Hopefully the stream's not going nuts right now. It still says that we're streaming perfectly fine, so that should be neat. And I think our co-founder just decided to hit the hay. So yeah, while it's moving, if you notice, now we have, remember last time when it was like 900, now this is like 696. I just wanted to see if we could actually build the subkey. Give me one moment, and I just want to test something here with the connection. Oh, application. Okay, so this is kind of neat. So the other thing, while this is going on, are you a snake, Code Effector? Are you a snake? I like Danger Noodles. Are you a snake? But there's also, remember that Polkadot JS? Well, there's also multiple different interfaces for those. Actually, let's actually go in and look at the Polkadot JS itself here. So this is their main page. I'm actually going to type their URL in the chat. Pokemon JS for the JavaScript stuff. Oh, that's the creeper. That's the S stuff is the creeper. I didn't see it because it came up as pure text on another one of my chat channels, but you actually meant like creeper stuff, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, you have an apps section, a wallet section, which actually goes through IPFS, which is interesting, which I don't know if I want to do or not now, just simply because that also might kill the stream. We might do that at the very end. There's a actual extension here. You have documentation, and on GitHub right here, because we can always backtrack to the page, we have all the different code here. And by the way, if you are on penicillin install, is there? I'm not. Maybe. I don't know. Between having a wound between having tetanus and STDs, welcome to Rust. I don't know what to tell you. At least it's not Go. So, because we're going to be getting to Go later on, because there's a lot of blockchain stuff that just loves Go. But yeah, here's all the like different stuff for all the different Polkadot JS interfaces. And I want to clarify what Polkadot JS basically strives to do is this is sort of the GUI stuff that you can load in browser. So if you want to build any sort of GUI interface or like maintenance panels or marketplace and stuff, you would use the Polkadot.js system where the JavaScript with TypeScript will communicate with HTML into the Polkadot network chain power chains and back, and you could do different information here. Now I don't have any of these on our GitHub, but I do have PowerChain itself forked to GitHub. And if you are on, actually, I will quickly type in chat our GitHub page. This is the DC201 GitHub. We're definitely going to be done at 127, by the way. So I believe we are at github.com/defcon201. There it is in chat. And if you're on Twitch, if you scroll below, we have an actual widget for GitHub, and we have both on the page and that widget Polkadot pinned. Wow, this is actually going way faster than, again, because I believe that the testnet has new code and new ideas. It probably has more features right now than Polkadot itself at this current stage. But that's why I wanted to quickly kind of show off Polkadot.js right here. And there's different interfaces now. If I can crawl back to, where are you? It's, I think, the community portal. I can actually I can show you the Polkadot user interface from Polkadot.js itself as an application. So we're going to go to here. Stream is dropping. Okay. That is, we're still connected. That is probably, again, all the stuff going on trying to add the stream key thing. So I'm actually going to reload the YouTube one that I'm looking at here just to see if it's... Yeah, it's just running really slow. Worst comes to worst, I could kill the process right now because it's just a subspace and I don't really care for it. Hopefully it's back up to snuff. I hope there wasn't any disconnection. It still says that we're streaming properly and we're doing fine. We're at like mostly full bars, so cross your fingers on that. Oh God, I just realized I had this terminal stuff and I didn't go to browser. I apologize. Why are you... There we go. So, oh yeah, I forgot. That's the error thing here. So let's go back to Polkadot.js. Sorry. So this is the Polkadot.js website. Sorry, I'm a nincompoop. I do this occasionally where I forget to take one thing off and put things on, just like in real life. So again, if we go to their GitHub page, what Polkadot.js is mainly for is it is for the actual GUI interfaces. It's for in-browser interfaces. Using JavaScript and TypeScript, connecting with HTML, and the JavaScript and TypeScript talking to the different parachains and stuff to create apps, GUI interfaces, and APIs. So if you don't like JS and JavaScript and Node.js, well, F you. That's what they kind of use for here. And they have so many different applications. I see what you mean now on the delay by the stream dipping, by the way. So I just want to double check things. It's almost done building here. Hopefully it doesn't get caught on anything. Let me know in chat if the stream is still stuttering, because if it does, I'll just kill the processes. If not, I'll just keep building here silently in the background and cross our fingers for the best. So they have different things here. So they have a direct wallet. They have a wallet that apparently works through IPFS, which we could try. The actual extension, which is a browser-based vault, kind of like MirrorMask, which we're exploring. Also, if you notice, what they do in the background is they're running a code thing, so random different colored polka dots actually appear in the background here. And then there's all the documentation for this. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually open the wallet system and pray that it actually loads. So it's connecting the endpoint. And I actually want to bring this up because I find this really freaking fascinating here. We're going to go and we're going to focus on a different thing. So this right here is that, remember that extension earlier? It actually, so that extension, that's what the JavaScript is connecting to that I installed. And it's asking authorization if I want to connect to that, which is, of course, we're going to say, yes to that here. Let me just go back to the original thing here. And the instant reward's coming up in 20 seconds. We're almost done, by the way, going through everything. For all of you on DLive, just give me a couple more minutes. So we're going to go in on that panel that you saw earlier, and we're going to click yes. And here's Polkadot here. And as you can see here, it's linked to our account. And you can see the different master nodes. These are all the recent blocks. It actually does the block system in real time. And it also shows the recent batch events here on the right side of the screen. Let's see if we can actually zoom up on here a bit. Okay, it only displays one way. Gotcha. We have different tabs here. If it will let me click on anything. What the hell's going on? Did I freeze the tab? Just double checking the stream here. All right, the stream is still running fine. I think I just... Oh, okay, that was the zoom in, zoom out. So you know what? It's running a bit slow. I'm going to leave this thing alone. So yeah, we can do different. We can look at multiple accounts. We have our address books. We can transfer. We can look at the different network stuff here. We have our governance system here between the different things we can vote on. We have different development things we can do, such as look at extensions, RPC calls, sign and verify stuff, look at the JavaScript code, and we also have things in settings. And I don't know if it's because it's just delayed or whatever, but you know, I just wanted to show like the Polkadot.js interface here. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because if we go back to if we go to this back to here, Let me try this again. If we go back to here, let's open the Polkadot. All right, so that was just the setup for that. But yeah, yep, and yeah, and you could also do that on the Kusama network. That's what you saw earlier. So that was just a cool way to show how, like, by using the this Polkadot JS extension and the Polkadot JS app, you can actually do like the different wallets and stuff like that. So let's go back here. There's also a wallet for the different vote coins. We're just going to jump to that website here. So this is the Polka wallet. I keep saying Pokey wallet like it's like this is Pokemon or something, but yeah. This is also like a whole thing here where you could do assets, government, staking. It seems like it's actually just my first time seeing this, so I think it's very mobile based, and I should totally follow the Instagram later. So you can download it on App Store, Google Play Store, and the APK. What we'll do is, again, the beginning of next episode, freezing and dropping. Okay, so let me just double check. Because I can see it sort of on the JavaScript end. I'm pretty sure it is the build process for compiling and stuff. And just to absolutely make sure, let me just close the JavaScript tabs here and stuff like that. I do have an emulator for I do have an emulator. Let me reload stuff for Android that we could use to look at this. I actually did not know that there was already a Android wallet for all of this. So now that I know about that, I mean, we could try to load it. We do have a bit of time. Let's actually look at doing that. And actually, here's what we're gonna do. Cross your fingers. I am going to do something really stupid. I'm gonna kill this process, and then we will hopefully see better results on this stream. So I just killed the process. Let me know if it stopped freezing, stuttering, or dropping. Let me go back here. Let's go back into the live. Yeah, and there's definitely a delay. So I just killed that processes, and hopefully now everything should connect and be up to date. Again, I apologize on CryptoBarons because there's a lot of stuff that use bandwidth and things like that. We will often, this is again why I usually pre-build programs. But we can actually do that here. Let me just see how this might work. So we're going to load up the Android, our emulated Android here. Let's see if this works. So we're going to, our emulation is still loading. It's getting there. We're almost there. Hopefully for all of you who are on delay, the stream should resume shortly. So cross your fingers on this. And I didn't think this episode, I thought this would be one of those packed, concise episodes, but between trying to build core Polkadot and doing all this stuff, this is honestly like, let's ask for an update. I'm going to tell it to remind me later. So now our Android emulator is running because I just want to see if we can, because we're not going to create an account right here, but I just want to see if we can actually get the wallet to load. So I'm going to open the App Store and find this. I mean, we could also, again, I could attempt to download and sideload the APK. I just actually want to see if any of these options would allow me to do that. Ah, it will actually do that. That's fascinating to note. Okay, so actually let's try doing that here. So we're going to go over, find the APK. And apparently it claims on this emulator you can literally just drag and drop it. So we're going to find out here. There's also a barcode for it. That's fascinating. So now we're going to download it. Oh, cool. Actually, you know what I can do? We're going to close this, and we're actually going to directly download and open this using the emulator again. And then once we get loading, we will bring that up. I guess what I should do in the meantime, because we're kind of ramping down from this, is that I'm going to talk about uh, just a bit of the Polkadot. So basically, what we went over so far is we've gone over what. Let me scroll back a bit. We've gone through what Polkadot is, how Polkadot basically came from a lot of ex-Ethereum developers as well as people who wanted to do stuff. They formed the Web3 Foundation, which wants to do an actual decentralized internet with actual results. And then back in May, Polkadot actually went live, and it's currently up and getting really popular. And this is sort of what Polkadot is. And there's a whole light paper for this, which I will actually copy and paste in chat. So let's see, Polkadot. So that's the Polkadot light paper right there. Let's get through this. We went through a bunch of the technology from this, including explaining what a shard blockchain was. We went through its grandpa validation system. The validation system uses the native dot token to Polkadot. We kind of looked at the dot system itself and how the payout system works. We attempted to try to run and interact with the Polkadot testnet. Unfortunately, because I believe we were on Ubuntu subsystem, which has its own special snowflake way of setting things up, we failed at building that. I'm going to try doing a separate build off stream with Kali to see if that works. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do crazy bullcrap with VMs. Let's see here. Oh, we got to follow. Thank you, MVRO or Mvro from Tidy from D-Line. Thank you for following. We're going to do the lemons very shortly, so you've just updated our following goal. Thank you for following that. Again, once we reach 100, we're 81 followers now. Once we reach 100 followers on now the stream's smooth again. Once we reach 100 followers on DLive, we're going to be able to do a lot more stuff because DLive will be able to give more stuff to CryptoBarons, so it won't be this sad except for programs that are not working and crashing. We learned that it builds that the main backend network, by the way, for Polkadot is that it's built on a substrate, which is how it builds blockchain itself. We are not looking into substrate not only because we're running out of time, but also because I want to go back and do a more advanced building a blockchain thing, and we're going to do more with the JavaScript and then use substrate as its actual development hub. So we'll go back to that. We also, let's see here. Talked about full nodes. We looked at the, where is all this crap? We looked at, actually I have to go back in time here and click some things because I lost the link somewhere. There we go. So we also looked at Kusama, which is the official forked crazy test network for Polkadot itself. And the last three things we're going to quickly look at, and then we're going to end the episode and do the whole spiel, right? Let's go back to the wallet stuff. So what we're trying to do is do a Polka wallet, which is the actual mobile wallet. There's no desktop wallet. You would do the wallet stuff in the command line, and I will test in chat again just to make sure everything is all kosher here with my crazy bootleg Timpool hat. And just again, give me like 2 minutes, and we'll do all the lemon stuff. So if you're on DLive, stay tuned. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to attempt to add another Windows capture. We're going to call this Android. So bear with me here because this might look a little loopy. And, so let me just do... Oh, okay, I see what's going on. So yeah, it's the wallet thing seemed to load, so I just want to show everyone what the... Okay, that's just like release Windows stuff. So that, so I'm going to shrink this down here and move things around. So again, I'm sorry if everything looks crazy and stupid. Aha. And baha. I honestly should just have this on default most of the time, just in case I have to bring Android up for stuff, but then honestly we would get way too crowded here. Wait, I thought you were below the logo. Okay, I am below the logo. But yeah, this is the Polka wallet thing. This is not exactly how it would look on your on your mobile phone, but this is just me loading it up in an Android emulator, so you can see it's a very base thing. Again, we're not going to create or add an account yet on the stream here. I just wanted to show you basically what the whole thing looked like. So, as I said, we covered a lot with Polkadot today. Or tonight, because in about literally 20 minutes, it's going to be the next day. So before we turn to a pumpkin, I do want to go back to the browser here and show off. I'm going to explore that app more, but I'm going to show off two more things I want to highlight from Polkadot. One is this, we'll probably cover these on future episodes. On May 20th to the 21st. So unfortunately, if I look at my calendar here, May is, by the way, the anniversary for all the streaming stuff. I don't think it's the anniversary for CryptoBarons, but all the streaming stuff's anniversary, all the side shows, is Polkadot. So the 20th, unfortunately, is a Thursday, but it does line up. Let's see, second, and so we might do a special just for Polkadot Decoded. If not, yeah, we might do a special for Polkadot Decoded. If not, we will recover it again on the 29th of May. But yeah, this is an actual. So they normally have Web3 like con meetups. That's for the video we saw earlier when they were explaining. Oh, did we look at that video earlier? Oh my God, we completely forgot this video earlier. We actually will probably just close out with that video in a moment. But yeah, there was a video I was supposed to show earlier from Web3 that showed one of their like meetup things. And this is basically an online, I believe it's online. Yeah, this is that bar they have at the bottom of the Polkadot website, which you can submit proposals. And if I remember correctly, this is going to be all online. So it's an all virtual meetup talking about Polkadot and Web3 and Web 3.0 and Kusama and all the blockchain techs, how Ethereum probably sucks and all that stuff. So that's going to be something to look forward to on Crypto Barons. And the second thing, which is coming up really soon, in February from the 10th to the 24th. So looking at my calendar again, we might bring this up. What I might do is I will check in next episode. So I think next episode we're going to do Polkadot. We'll see if, well, do a few updates on what I was doing with the Polkadot with the testnet and stuff. We'll install in Kali or an emulator or a VM and see how that works. But we will touch up on this and then go directly into our next coding topic. And then on the 26th, I will give, sorry, that's the 13th. And then on the 27th, I'll come back in and give my final thoughts on this whole thing. But there's going to be a whole thing about building decentralized apps or dApps. And I love the double and web services for IoT devices on the different parachains of Polkadots. And basically, you can learn how to build Internet of Things, IoT stuff, dApps, and web services all in one thing. And so you're not going to see me sign up for this, but I am going to sign up for this and work on it. So I'm going to be learning a lot of stuff here, more stuff than we did on today's episode. And I will give you a kind of like, hey, quickly, like this is what it is on February 13th. In addition to the updates on Polkadot stuff, and we'll go into our next coding topic, which I'm still trying to be honest, figure out. But I will update everyone on that soon. And it will be another coding thing. It'll probably be central to like dApps or something like that, or maybe even like web interface stuff like with MetaMask and Opera. And then on the 27th of February, which will be the second Crypto Barons of that month, I will kind of sum up everything I learned. I'll show hopefully my graduation certificate come from this. This should be really cool, and I'll actually post those. So if you want to join the what they call the Robonomics Winter School, I'll type that in chat. Robonomics Winter School, and to remind everyone, Polkadot and the W3 Foundation stuff did not sponsor this. We have no sponsors here on Crypto Barons, and we don't really have sponsors on DEF CON 201 outside of being part of a DEF CON group and being part of the Electron Frontier Alliance, which works with the Electron Frontier Foundations for privacy and security rights and techniques in education around the world. So if I say any praises or interest, that's my genuine interest. And so that's something we're going to be checking out. I'll be doing that all month next month. And then the Polkadot Decoded, hold on, Polkadot Decoded. It reminds me of a Matrix sequel. It's like the Matrix sequel or whatever. Whoop, what the hell happened here? Okay, that was weird with the URL. Just give me one moment here. The URL went kind of crazy over there. Oh, it was it's a referral Twitter link, so I just added all the other garbage. But yeah, so then Boston side garbage. But yeah, up in May, we might do a special for this. We might do an aftermath special for this, but that's another thing we're going to check out. So as you can see, we're doing a lot of stuff with Crypto Barons, and ultimately, we're at the end of our show here. Again, thank you everyone. And I'm going to switch to the Facecam one for putting up with me on all of this. I know that it's not the most easiest thing to do with all the compiling. I hope you folks like the music. I'm pretty sure the actual physical blockchain loved it. Again, if you're interested in all of our future shows and stuff, like we might have an hack alt. I don't know if we have anything next week, but normally hack alt and commanders on every other Wednesday. Let me open a window for this because now we're gonna do the lemons. So I hope someone's on D Live because you're gonna get a lot of lemons. And Archvile Linux Perspective is going to happen the second week of February. I think that's the 11th, where he looks at Arch Linux stuff, and he also does a lot of Linux video gaming on there. So that's a cool thing to check out. My other show, Master of Unlocking, again, we're all on break next week, so I don't think there's going to be any programming. But that's Master of Unlocking, which is breaking lock picking and bypassing locks, and that will come back on the 7th. I have a big important project to do on there. Let's do this. We are going to add a bunch of lemons. So we just add a bunch of lemons, and now we're going to distribute. So anyone on DLive, again, thank you for that follow, MRVO. I hope you're on here because there's about to be a shit ton of lemons being distributed right now. So get in on that. While that's counting down, we're going to look for an awesome channel that hopefully we can raid. Hopefully that won't slow the stream down. But yeah, that's going to be that show. And again, the next Crypto Barons will be on the 13th of February and the 27th on February. Again, the second and fourth Saturday of every month. Again, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I could check real quick. I'll actually try to check real quick right now. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do next week. All you know is that the next couple of episodes, unless it's a special interest thing, such as in February, I know in April we're going to do something special that I can't wait to announce. And again, May, we might actually do the whole Polkadot Unchained stuff. Everything's going to be about coding and commands, so don't worry. Okay, I believe from looking at this, we're either going to start going into learning how to program decentralized apps, or we're going to look at Gitcoin and how basically people are using incentivized cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in order to facilitate and reward people building open source software. So one of those two, if not both of them, will happen in February. I just don't know which one's going to be on the 13th and which one's going to be on the 27th. So just note about that. So yeah, probably the one I'm dreading is going to happen in March. So that's going to be awful. But yeah, thank you for everyone who are watching this. Again, if you're on, let's see. If you're on DLive, you just got a crap ton of lemons, so congratulations for you. If you're on Twitch, hang on a moment. I am right now in the process of following an awesome stream. And again, as I'm going to do in chat, if you want to know more about the stuff that we want to do, here's the website. It's at defcon201.org. And we're all over on social media. We're on Twitter at... We're on Twitter at DEFCON201NJ. We are on the Instagrams at DEFCON201. We have a GitHub, which if you're on Twitch, we also have a widget that will go through there, and you can look at Polkadot and try to run it yourself and see what mistakes I made. We're on the hostducks.social version of Mastodon. But if you want a whole thing, we just put a link tree in chat that has all of our stuff together here. And I'm just kind of looking at who's on here. Okay, so he's doing plumbing again. We have two awesome keyboard builders going on right now. Okay, so the AMA doing crazy quartz stuff here. That seems pretty neat. Let's see what other stuff. Let's scroll down a bit more. Oh, okay. So this might be kind of just like a odd segue here, but unless I see something other than this, um, the Linux Gamecast. Speaking of Arch Vile Linux perspective, Linux Gamecast is actually doing their show right now, so we're gonna go in and raid them. So it's a couple minutes to midnight. I'm gonna go get food. Again, thank you everyone. Literally thank you everyone in chat for watching the stream, watching me put up with all of the loads and failures and stuff like that. And D-Live thumb up. Yep, that's a thumbs up. Thank you, Code Factor.